stay I wanted to stay more over towards my
You
property.
need an agenda?
And I didn't go in as bad as he did, but boy, it was bad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike or Jill, whoever printed these. Appreciate it. Next meeting's Cinco de Mayo.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Crazy to do that.
Sorry for arriving late, everybody. I'm ready to go if you all are.
Yep.
Okay. I call the meeting to order. Everyone is present and accounted for. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the March Park Board report. But I don't believe we received that yet. Is that correct?
No.
I sent it to
No
you.
problem. Did you send it?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to check my email this afternoon.
Did you just send it?
This afternoon sometime.
Oh,
I sent it to only Michael. He asked if there was minutes and I said, no, but I have this summary.
oh.
So I didn't get a chance to see that yet.
What do you
And
want?
the rest of the board hasn't seen it yet. So do we want to
Okay,
postpone that till next month?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll look for those minutes and get those approved next month. We don't have any visitors today.
We do.
And well, Jill's not a visitor.
Oh, I know she isn't.
Unless, do you want to count as a visitor, Jill?
Yes.
No, all right. Okay, so first thing on the agenda then would be our continuing education discussions. Mike, do you have something prepared for us for Organizations 101?
Well, yes, and I'm not sure it's exactly what you want, but I'm going to share what I've got, because what we have, before we talked about the budget process and the funding. So I thought, first, Michael, what you were asking was what I'm going to show you. And then this afternoon, I thought maybe I didn't fully understand.
And that's okay.
So the park board is created based on an Indiana statute, but here's here's the Indiana code that basically says what park boards are to do and establish rules governing use of park and recreation equipment or facilities. And there's a whole lot of things that the state says you should do that we don't necessarily do. Here's your powers. And which, you can enter into leases for facilities and services, contract with persons for joint use, contract with another board, unit, school, corporation, or whatever for the use, acquire and dispose of real property. Typically, park departments have the right, the power of eminent domain to take property.
Can we take the school?
Yep. If you got a good use for it, maybe, I don't know.
Are they gonna take that equipment out of it?
I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
Playground equipment?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
that-
good question. I was
that's a
thinking
decent
about this
playground.
though today. We do need to, I think, have a discussion about what we can do to support local families that have children, the school leaving town. There's gonna be a lot of changes, and I think a lot of things we could fill some gaps on, and you're bringing up some good points that I hadn't thought about, the actual physical grounds, if there's anything we can do to keep that, maintain it. Mike, is that you're looking at right there? Is that one that starts with Indiana Code 3610-3-10? Would that be at the top of that?
Actually found, yes.
Okay.
36-10-3-10.
I just noticed this in my notes today. Mike shared this with us, November 13th, 2024. If you want to look back at your emails, what we're looking at here, he did share with us, so.
There in Indiana.
Yeah, and actually,
Yeah.
I can just send you this one. I combined both the town ordinance, the town's ordinance and the state.
Okay.
So what I discovered is that the park board, that you folks are not appointed by the council, but by the
So you can have that.
clerk treasurer.
Here.
You did.
That's what I thought, that we were to be appointed by Kathy. And we didn't have to go through the whole town approval.
Yeah,
We just had
well,
to be approved by the elected official.
that's what it's written in here. So,
So that's the Indiana code?
no, that's the
That's
town's
town's
code.
The
code.
town's
Yeah.
code, oh, give me that again. Scott, you will have no more trouble.
I should not Yes,
So,
say, I thought,
the
that's
park
what
board,
I was like, why, I need to be approved by, like, Mary Ryman told me I had to be approved by her.
yep, see, right here it is.
Does the swearing in.
I
This
know,
is
but
the,
back when I got put on, I thought that's what Mary told me.
Yeah, so this is the town's ordinance, section 293. It says, members of the park board shall be appointed by the town clerk.
All right, I think we need to get that understood.
And, well, I think it's just a matter of, I don't know, somebody assumed it was the council and
Yeah.
it went on from there. So, your powers and duties are established in the Indiana code, and here's how you were established to begin with, your number of term.
But the terms are unique there too, it looks like.
This is just for the initial. So that was to set up a.
That way they're on
four-year-
a-
Oh, I see.
That way
That
they're
way
on a
they're staggered.
rotation.
On a
Yeah.
rotation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
Mike, you'll be emailing us.
I can email this to all of
Okay.
you folks.
okay.
I'll do that
Make sure I have
tomorrow.
that for my notes then. 'cause
That
I don't-
means future
I don't-
reference, when you replace somebody, you just need to take them to Kathy and, or whoever that elected person is, and
Yeah.
they say yay or nay,
Yeah, okay.
so.
So anyways, that is that. But then you had also asked about the organizations that you work with.
Yeah, I kind of wanted an overview, basically, town council is an example of one of the organizations with which we work to accomplish our goals in town. And then if we could talk about the way that we interact with them. And my thought there was that they appoint us and they approve our budget. But as we just established,
They don't appoint
Don't
you,
appoint
but
us,
they
but they
do
do
approve
approve
your
our
budget and your expenditures. So, yeah, your interaction with them is entirely financial.
and then beyond that, any other organizations that we typically work with, Bristol on the River, Homecoming Committee.
Well, it depends
say
what
I
hub.
think the library
The library is
definitely
another one that-
has,
Yeah, hub,
if you read in those rules, they're supposed to have somebody involved with us from the library. Maybe.
there's nothing in any of the
Any of them
ordinances. or
anymore.
rules.
I
Mhm.
remember reading that now, that would have been the Indiana one, not Bristol one, because I don't have it written
Yeah.
down.
So I guess it depends on what you mean by work with. So a lot of some organizations rent your space and hold
Mhm.
events on it, or you give them the space to hold events on, it, like Homecoming and
yeah,
Corn Dog Festival.
Library, I think
And the library does that as well.
we use the library,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
So the extent of your working with them is basically they're asking and you're saying, yep, here it is. There's no other level of interaction above that I'm aware of. So,
I mean, if churches wanted to have programs down in the park, we wouldn't
Yeah.
charge them. I mean, they're non, but like, and
You said we would or wouldn't?
wouldn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
charge the churches.
What's
yeah.
the other one that I had heard about that kind of inspired the idea of having this as a 101 class for us is it called the Bristol Economic Development Committee? Or is there another, am I off with that term?
I know you're.
There is an economic development committee. It only comes into play if the town issues a bond for something. So it doesn't have any relationship to the parks, unless the park, well,
If we wanted to have them buy us some property.
no, they don't buy. It's a statutory process that,
Is that the meetings they have 15 minutes before the?
no,
meeting?
that's the redevelopment commission.
What you're talking,
Maybe you mean the redevelopment
He's
commission.
talking
I
about
think
the
that's what I was talking
redevelopment
about.
commission.
Is
Yeah.
it Bristol Redevelopment Commission?
Yes, the Economic Development Committee, I mean, it's met twice in 5 years. It seldom meets. But the redevelopment commission meets regularly every month now.
Okay, so I guess that's kind of what I was wanting a little bit of an overview on, like that Homecoming Committee, Bristol on the River. How we interact with them, how they interact with us, how they're formed, like if somebody wanted to join Bristol on the River or Homecoming Committee, are they elected, are they voted on?
Totally
Is it
separate
just
organizations.
volunteers?
Yeah.
So that's,
You just go to a meeting, sign up.
okay, so that's kind of what I was
Everybody will take
thinking.
you, I'm sure.
Yeah, both organizations are looking for more volunteers.
So do you think we could kind of table that discussion until next month and maybe you and I meet in the next month and dial in kind of what what we would present about these organizations and how we work.
We
together.
could, except there's not much more to report. I mean, that's it. They're separate organizations and they use the park and that's it. We have no interaction with planning the events. That's,
They don't have any say in what we do.
no,
But there's, I mean, there's things like there's an approval process that they are, you know, when they're having an event, they're supposed to be getting, you know,
Special.
final sign off from us. I'm thinking
well,
kind
Jill
of,
can talk about that now, that process.
So if there's ever an event going to be held in our parks, we have them do a special event application. So your Corn Dog Festival, the car show, Bristol Homecoming, just to name some of the annuals. So they'll fill that application out, they'll let us know the dates of the events, what they're requesting of the park, if anything, like, for example, parade, road closures. And that goes to town manager, fire chief, police marshal, and then you as the park board president. You then can talk to your park board members, and you guys are gonna yay it, nay it. Most times we're not gonna nay it, we just need to be known of the
Right,
event
right,
that they're requesting to utilize. For our not-for-profit and our, long, I guess, running festivals, we don't charge them a fee. But if somebody would come with a new event, there would be a fee for them to fill out that application.
mhm,
So, yeah, and it's also the waiver of liability that they're signing off on as well.
very good.
You can still come and visit me if you want. I wasn't saying you shouldn't do that.
Sure, no, I think, I mean, we're really close to covering everything that I kind of wanted to cover there, but just, kind of dialing in on the specific interaction, like who do they go to for the approval? And when I say they, I mean the different organizations that are hosting events. Are they going to you guys and then you guys present to us? Are they coming to us directly? Because when the library did Summerfest, I did like how that worked, that they would come to at least a few meetings. You know, the initial one, they came and sat down and said, here's our plan, laid it all out for us, and they
Well, I
checked back
think
in. a
that's
couple of
something that we
times.
tell them, that we expect. I mean, if they're saying that they come, well, if Karen will call up and say, hey, we want to hold it. I don't know what.
Car show?
So
Okay,
I
car
guess,
show.
yeah, so I guess the
Then-
question then is, do you want that to happen on every event or a new event? So do you want homecoming folks to come every year and say, Corn Dog Festival, or just the new events that haven't happened before?
Do any of you have an opinion before I?
Does, like homecoming, do they have to fill out one of those activities things every year?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
when one of those is
everybody
generated,
does.
I think they need to come and say,
Yeah, in the
hey, this
past,
is the dates, da, 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 da.
Jill would make me aware that someone was, if it was a brand new event, then, and they were able to, they were invited to come to the meetings, like the
Mhm.
library came and things like that. I don't know that we ever put a hard fast, you gotta be here, but if that's something that you'd like to collectively see on a new event, sure.
Well,
I don't think our long-standing events should be made, unless they have something they wanna ask us for, like the library came and asked us for money.
Mhm,
That's why they showed up here.
mhm.
And they made a proposal for what they needed money for, and we said yay or nay. I mean, I think that'd be kind of cool. But if it's a long-standing event like homecoming, we pretty much know what's gonna happen. I don't know
Well,
that I
I'd like,
need
the
them
one
to.
thing I'd like to know when it does the homecoming is the dates, because everybody's forever asking,
And it's on that application.
you know, it is on the application, but if we don't see it as a park board member, or we don't have them
Well,
come and say,
And
then
that's,
we don't
and that's where
know.
currently they're sending it to the president. So it came to me. And with that stuff, I didn't necessarily know like what, that everybody needed to see it. That wasn't anything I was, but if you
But the
you
date,
want that to everybody to see it, Michael, then it's gonna come to you and then you're the one who's gonna have to put that out.
Mhm.
Either in the next meeting or in an email to all of us.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that these guys need to be, running that to everybody when it was just meant to go to the president and they kind of say, well, do I need to talk to everybody or not? So,
I just need to know the dates, the activity, the new activity that's gonna happen, so that I can put it on my calendar, so I have it on my calendar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll note that to myself if I ever receive anything with those event applications that have dates on them, I'll make sure that you're included on that.
Okay.
And do you need to know the date of homecoming this year?
I have absolutely no idea.
It is on our town website, the calendar as well.
And it's on the newsletter, right? I got the,
Not the homecoming yet.
no, okay,
Usually in that quarter I put.
because it'd be the following quarter, right?
Yeah.
It should be it's the weekend after the 4th of July, right?
And Austin, I'm sorry, did you have any thoughts there? It looked like you had.
Good, because we planned our vacation around that.
I think if we're going
No,
to.
we're gonna be gone during the week in between 4th of
Have
July.
conversations with the groups, old and new, that we just, keep on top of making sure that they're aware of policies, procedures. Not just assume that they already know because they did last year and the year before.
Okay, did you guys hear that as well? So that's, I kind of feel like both the same ways. I feel like with long-standing events like homecoming, for example, I mean, they know what's going on with that, and we know what's going on with that. But as he pointed out, if we have policy changes or things like that, it would be good to have more of a check-in with those groups. So,
I mean, like this year is a good example, you know, where's parade gonna be?
And in that application, it hits all those, like if they're having a parade, you have to give parade route and what road closures they're requesting.
Mhm.
And that's why, oh, Eric, you're included in that special application, sorry. That's
Hey,
straight.
Eric's here.
So that might be something,
Has
Linda,
that
that you might
application
want,
come
you
out
might
or
want
what?
that stuff brought to our park board meeting. Is that more of what you
Yeah.
want to be able to read through it?
I'd like to be able to see those applications.
All right, because that's not
Okay.
what we've done in the past
Mhm.
traditionally. So if that's,
Okay, yeah, is that
and
something
that
we can
would be a
do
change.
going
I
forward? is
mean, I
just
can stop
print
it
out
if
an
they're
application
in
that
a
says
book
they're
somewhere,
attending?
I can go look in the book myself. I'm the only one that wants to have those dates down and wants to know what's going on.
I think it'd be valuable for us to all have that. And so it's just, how do we want to handle that? Do you want me to forward it to everyone, or when you have it, do you want to print it out and bring it to the first park board meeting?
I'll put
After
it
we have the
to
apps.
you and you can forward it to them.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I'd prefer that.
Okay,
and that way Michael can add any comments to you guys as the board as well.
Yeah, if there's some sort of discussion you think we need to have, Mike, then we can do
Mhm.
that
okay.
via email, you know?
Mhm.
All right, very good. Thank you for that, Mike, Jill. And also just keep in mind or remind everybody, part of the point of doing this is also not just for the board members and the town staff that's here, but also for any guests we might have watching our videos online. Hello, welcome. So that's kind of my goal with these 101s is for new park board members, old ones who need reminders, and for
Well,
any of our
found out
town
some
staff
new
that are
things.
watching. Yeah.
We're appointed by the town clerk.
Right, we learned something new
I
today.
learned that. That's good.
So does anybody have anything else for organizations 101? All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on. Next thing we have on our agenda is the online reservation process that Jill has set up for us.
Mike, do you want me to use your computer or do you want to just take us to the?
Well, let's just
website?
see if I can figure it out.
Okay.
Just a regular
Alright,
guy.
Even better demo.
I
Yeah.
will tell you, when I was thinking this through entirely, so these meetings are recorded live.
Mhm.
I'd rather not put my credit card out there for everybody to see it.
That's a
So
good
we're gonna
idea.
sort of skip that step.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's fine.
I realized, well, I don't, rather not. But right now,
So you'd
so,
go to, this is the website, so I'd go to the Park Pavilion. And there's our comprehensive plan, which is wonderful.
so right here, you'll see the 3 parks.
Yeah.
Either
No,
park that
that
you're
looks
interested
really
in,
good,
gives you a
too.
little synopsis right there of the cost. And then Mike can just click on right now. Mike, can you go back just one spot real fast? It's a great question because right there you see down the bottom, it is not air conditioning. And that we share it, our parking lot with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources as well. So that's been a concern, a very common question. So
Yeah,
it's right
that's a
there for
great
you to
idea to
see.
have it right there on the first tab. They don't have to
Thank you,
search
Mike.
through it.
So now we have the calendar. So you can see, for example, Herman's Park is our most rented park. So if you scroll down just a little bit, you see some of those dates are
Yeah, we can
grayed
see
out.
the 25th, the 11th.
That means they are not available. You cannot click on them. So anyone can jump on there now and see what's available and what's not available. If you're
Excellent.
interested in 2 days, you can block that out as well. But most times if somebody just wants a day, so
Let me click on a day.
click on a day. And then if you double click, maybe sorry. So right there, you can see now you've selected that date, you can book it. This is about where we're, as far as we're gonna get tonight, but you can go ahead and click on book now, Mike. So right there, we are gonna rent for May 22nd, it's gonna cost $200, so they know the date, they have the cost there. Then you're gonna go to checkout.
Do you want me to check
Yeah.
out? Okay. I'll fill in your
You
name.
have to, yep, fill in that information and then the credit card. So what they're doing first is they're locking in the rental, and then it's gonna take them straight next to the application. So then they're reading the rules, the regulations, the cleaning checklist. We're capturing their names, their address, their phone number, and obviously their payment. With that as well, we are not taking the security deposit online, because if we charge anything, has sales tax.
Right.
We don't want to charge sales tax on a deposit. So they're gonna have to come in within 7 days in our office unless they make other arrangements. We
Yeah,
can
it says that on there.
Yep.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't get to that spot from here without entering credit card information, but they have 7 days to come in here to then pay their deposit. Once we receive the deposit, we will give them the keyless entry.
Right.
So they can't get into the facility until we have the deposit. So far, it's working well. Of course, there's a few kinks when we first went live. That's why we really didn't promote it on our Facebook page. But I think we're at the point now where we can let people know. They can go on there, they can see what's available. If they have any questions, there's our phone number. They can contact us as well. Or if there's an email address.
I think that's super.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that looks really good. I think it's.
Yeah, looks very
easy peasy.
professional. I like it.
I think that the fact that people.
Yeah,
know
I
come
know
in,
that.
Even Linda can do it, she says.
I mean, like
I could do
anything,
it.
anybody can do it. There is a fee to process a card. So if somebody's like, I don't want to do it online, I want to come in, I want to pay cash, I write a check, we can accommodate that still as
Okay,
well.
so we're still doing face-to-face signups.
We want to encourage this way,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but absolutely, we can still do it. I'll call the old fashioned way, come in and do the paper application. And we can still block that data out online if we do a walk-in.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Well, I think
So-
that looks really good.
So I
think it was-
apologize, I can't show you the other side of it, but.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm cool with that.
unless
We
you-
understand that was a.
Or credit card.
That's all right, that's all right. I think that looks great. I think if it's gonna make the reservation process easier, for both our staff and for people reserving the thing,
Yeah.
reserving the pavilions, I think that's a great tool. Looks good. It was probably a good idea to do a soft rollout on it until you
Yeah.
work the kinks out, but now that it looks like it's working pretty well, we could start advertising it and.
Yeah, and all those go right to the Bristol Park's email, because they still have a separate email address, so.
Okay, I wanted to check with that too, since I have it on the agenda, just making sure that's
Okay,
still
yeah.
something that's monitored.
Yep,
So very good.
actually, it's monitored by Mike, myself, and Denise, so we have backups,
All right,
ones out.
excellent. Well, thank you. Anything we can do for you to support that?
I don't think so,
Or
no,
we
I
can
think
do?
it's working well. Thank you for allowing us to have that expense to implement it. But I think in the next probably week or so, I'm gonna push it out there for aware that they can do the online reservation starting now.
All right, and board, keep your ears peeled if you have friends or family or feedback from anybody.
Yes.
You know, bring
Please.
that to us to let us know how that application reservation process is working. Okay, anything else? Any questions for Jill? Any comments? Okay, next thing on the agenda is the community garden update and request from garden coordinator Michael Rock. Feel like I should maybe move over there to the stand. I'm not the president right now. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Rock, the community garden coordinator. Just wanted to thank you all for the support for the garden again this year. We're rolling right along. Things are going great. Eric Funkhauser, thank you so much for the delivery of the mulch. We're gonna get that in early this year, so that's really gonna handle weeds. I also wanted to report that last year I did bring up some funding difficulties that our agency that supports us, Seed to Feed, might be facing. And it sounds like they're not going to be having the financial struggles this year that they thought. So we won't need to rely necessarily on funds from the park board other than the coverage of the water. We do have, just wanted to share, we do have some things planted already. We'll be harvesting lettuce, turnips, radish, peas, garlic and green onions in the next month or so. So we'll be supplying the pantry with an early harvest this year, which we didn't get to last year. So we're really excited about that. The one request I have is that I have made a connection with Loveway Inc. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but the local horse farm. Well, it's much more than a farm, I suppose. But they didn't have anybody taking any of their composted manure. And we need that for the garden. So they're gonna work out a situation with us where we can go and collect that from them. I do have volunteers that can help fill up a pickup load here and there, but we're gonna need much more than 1 or 2 pickup loads to get started. So I didn't know if the town had a dump trailer or dump bed truck that they could possibly make available in the next few weeks to go and pick up some composted manure for us. I'm gonna be doing a pickup tomorrow, so I'll have a better idea of how that process works. But it's probably not gonna be more than 20, 30 minutes round trip. Go out there, they'll have a tractor ready, they can load it for us, go out to the garden and dump it. So I realize I'm putting you guys on the spot, Eric and Mike, but is that something you guys might be able to help us out with sometime in the next few weeks to run a Loveway and pick up a load of composted horse manure? And I would help clean the trailer when you're done.
You'd need to,
Personally, the dump bed, I'm not concerned with that really. It's just the matter of making time to make it happen. But as long as it's okay and it, we said, as far as using a truck, town resources for that, I'm okay with it. I don't care.
Okay, Mike, do you have a thought on that, or?
yeah, I don't think it makes any difference, Eric. Loveway, do you know where Loveway's at, Eric? It's just outside of town, east side here. Few miles.
I thought it was in Bristol, but it's actually a Middlebury address.
It is. Yeah, we go there from a response standpoint.
So it's not too far away. It'd be a quick trip.
Not too far past Bonneville Mill.
Your truck will just smell like horse crap for a while. That's the downside.
That's why I'm saying I could have the hose and the sprayer ready to just soak it down.
I was gonna say, do you know if it's older compost?
It is composted, yeah, I did.
It's-
It doesn't smell too much then.
Yeah, you're gonna just get,
Should be perfect for what we need.
should
to
be
garden.
getting some good dirt.
Yeah.
You should be getting.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, nothing a power washer can't take care of.
yeah. It'd be nice to choose a rainier day, maybe, if it gets out here
That I
the next
agree
couple
with.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
Just you need what, a day's notice maybe, Eric?
Yes.
yeah, and the representative from Loveway that I talked to, she gave me her cell phone number, and if it's during like your normal work hours, Eric, she's like, if you text me within an hour, she
Easy to
can
do.
do that. And my schedule generally working from home, if you give me an hour heads up, I can be available too.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
coordinate
if I
the
need
date
it,
and the
I'll
time.
contact as well.
Okay.
Yeah, rather than us calling you, you just say, okay, hey, it's kind of a slow day. If it's raining out, it's slower for us, and
Okay,
just give Eric a call and
all
get it
right,
set up and run
I'll
out.
do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do you guys have any questions for me regarding the community garden yet this year?
I gave Linda, my wife's email.
Mhm.
She's not been getting any responses or any info from you, and she wanted to help you with the garden this year.
Okay, has she emailed me or the garden email
I've
address?
got an email address.
Linda has it for
I can
you.
send it to
I
you.
gave it to her when I got here.
I'm pretty sure I've got it too.
Yeah, she just said she hasn't been getting any correspondences in reference to the
Okay.
garden.
Mainly I've been communicating with my volunteers via text message. And
She's-
I'm trying to be more active on the Facebook page, but I haven't.
She just wanted to make sure
She's
she,
got a new phone, so she could
Yeah.
get text too, right?
yeah, I'll give you the cell phone too, but she just
What is
wanted to
the cell
get,
phone?
so she can get on your active
On the
list.
mailing list, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, I'll put her on there. And that, thank you for.
But she's
bringing that
looking
up. That reminded me
she's
of-
looking to volunteer this year if she can, so.
Excellent. We started to do a little more Facebook outreach last year, and Sarah Burton through the hub was putting it out with their group. And we definitely have a lot of people that are interested. We're also working on classes. Mary Ann Martin and I have done classes, and Deb Scott have done classes at the pantry and the library so far this year. And we're working on doing some classes at the Bristol Community Church on some cooking and processing. sessions. So we're really expanding what we're doing, and there's a lot of people that are really interested and giving a lot of support, a lot of good ideas. So I think it's just gonna be a great year. And Jill, one of the other things I wanted to bring up is I would like to, once we start our regular work days on Wednesdays. Could we get that shared on this line?
Yeah.
Downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you post a thing on Facebook, give me a heads up. And you guys
Mm,
share it.
share it too. Okay, great, yeah, I'll do that. So I'll give you dates as soon as we've got them established. And for anybody at home and for anybody here, workday Wednesdays, starting at 4:30, starting probably the second week of May. Thank you all for the support, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking care of our town, doing the great work.
What was the
Right.
time?
4:30 Wednesdays, depending on the weather.
4:30 to whenever, right?
Yeah, they're typically an
Second week of
hour.
May.
But once we get into harvest season, we're there a good 2 or 3 hours. So it just depends on what we have coming in. If beans and tomatoes and cucumbers are all coming in at the same time, we're there till 6:30 at least, so. All right. Thank you, everybody. Moving on, we have programs. And Jill, this is in reference to the idea that you brought up via email about wanting to do some tree planting. So I've just labeled it the Arbor Day tree planting discussion for
Yeah, and
April.
I think maybe my email got misinterpreted. So
Okay.
I just thought Eric was planting trees because we knew that we had it
Mhm.
scheduled for some tree planting in the month of April, if I recall.
Yep.
So I thought maybe that could be somehow intertwined with the community because I don't have just the time to do something in April.
Okay.
And I know Kathy was also working on that landscaping and deal on the
Right.
side of the staircase. So I just sort of thought if that could be maybe the community outreach. So and I saw you threw Arbor Day in there, which I'm intrigued to know what you're talking about. But
Mhm.
that was my mindset on that.
Okay, understood. I think I was leaning towards that as a separate thing from what Kathy was proposing, because Kathy is
Okay.
proposing a flower planting, which I've got listed under Congdon Park, but I'll touch on it a little bit now. Flowers, we need to wait until May to plant, because they won't survive a frost if we get a late frost. May 3rd is the final frost date this year. So for example, we won't be planting the garden until that weekend after that. Trees, however, you typically want to be in
April.
before that, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what Arbor Day is, just a national tree planting holiday,
Mhm.
essentially. And it's the last week in April because that's typically for most zones a safe date to plant. You want to do that while those trees are still dormant, so it's not as warm and they haven't put out buds, and that's a good time to transplant most species of trees. So that's why we were shooting for that. And I was just thinking in conjunction with Arbor Day, because there are organizations like the Elkhart Environmental Center and other ones that do tree giveaways. And I think they're typically giving those to individuals. I don't know if they would supply local
If they give
governments
one
with
to us
that.
or not, I don't know.
But I thought that might be something worth looking into. So I'd be happy to look into some of that. But the question you're bringing up is whether we could incorporate Eric's tree planting into
It was
a
just
community
thought.
event. So why don't we cover that when we get to Congdon, and we can talk a little bit more. I got some clarification from Eric on where we stand with that tree planting. So we'll cover that when we get to Congdon and can discuss whether it's feasible to include the community in tree planting.
I guess I just want to let you guys know with the farmer's market gonna kick off in hometown summer nights. I just don't have anything in my back pocket to pull up for April.
Sure, no, I understand. You've got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
We understand that. So we will do whatever we can to support, but
Okay.
always, if you've got ideas, put them out there and we'll see what we can do to make them happen. Does anybody else have any thoughts about an Arbor Day kind of planting, or do you want to wait until we get to the Congdon part of the agenda?
I'm thinking that the trees that we want to plant in Congdon Park, I don't think that we want anybody to be helping with that. Because we need a professional job. We want these trees to be planted and we want them to last. We want to have their little bags on them so that they'll get water and
Mhm. Yeah,
so they have a fair chance to go through it.
I think
And
I'm
survive.
on the same
So,
page with you there.
if Arbor Day, that would mean something separate, I
Yeah.
would think,
And I was thinking the size of the trees of the transplants would be different.
absolutely.
Like the things we're gonna be sourcing through Eric, we're probably gonna have need of one of the large root ball diggers, large equipment that isn't as conducive to working with community to help plant, but then the Arbor Day trees are sometimes just like a little twig with a root ball like this that you can, you can accomplish the work with a couple shovels and a bucket of water. So let's cover that in more detail when we get to the Congdon part of the agenda. If there's nothing else there, Jill, thank you for the idea for the community tree planting, and we'll look into seeing if we can do something with that. So next on the agenda is budget, and I didn't have anything specific. I know we just had our first quarter budget come out, and Mike, I didn't know if you had anything
Nothing
to
that's,
cover with
like I
that
say,
for
it's
us?
kind of early in the year, quarter.
Yeah, at
so
this
if you-
point, we haven't had a
but
lot of expenses.
You get to see these fancy new reports that are far easier to read than I have in the past, so.
I do like this new format.
Yep, so the thing you want to look for is anything over 25%. So you've got a little bit of problem with contractual services and a problem with gas and electric. Jill says gas and electric, we should be okay. I don't know what's triggering the contractual services. That's going to be a problem, but we'll see another quarter. And we'll just watch it as we go by month, make sure that if we come in a little over, as in the past, you can move monies within this group. So if you're way under budget on general improvements or something else, we just move it up to pay your bills.
So
Then-
is this the contractual services number right there, 5,431?
That's what we have available.
Contractual
Okay.
services, yeah, the 541 is the amount budgeted, and
Okay.
you've used 32% of that.
The 2568.
8,000 budgeted, you have 5,400 left, right?
And did you say you're not sure which items were coming out of that, or do you know what contractual services would be?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to guess, but we could go into deeper and I can show you the invoices that were paid out of that appropriation.
Since trash services aren't there, it seems like it's a little high, so I'm just wondering what, at this point, why that's so high, but anyways, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, would you, if you find that, would you mind emailing it to
Oh,
me?
yeah.
And we
And if
can
you
take a
guys,
look
when I
at it?
send those reports and you're like questioning, let me know and I can dive in. Yeah.
Mhm. And
I
until he
just
explains.
can't tell you right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's no problem. And then if she sends that to me, are there any of you other board members that would like to be included on that email exchange? As far as figuring out what precisely contractual services are?
well, actually, next month, maybe we'll just bring a breakdown of that contractual services and everybody can see what it
Okay.
is.
That would work as well.
I
Yeah,
think that'd be fine.
okay, so we'll look back again at contractual
Mhm.
services, please and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions on the first quarter budget from anyone?
You can also, Mike, from that report, did you close it?
Sort of, kind of.
It's
why?
fine, but the top of it is the revenue, and you guys happen
Oh.
to notice what we've taken in for park rentals so far.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
obviously it's not including numbers besides total revenue, like I can't tell me how many people have rented it. Unless you want me to dive in deeper with that, then.
I'm just curious sometimes like how many weekends they're reserved, but now I can go in there and just look at it. So, yeah, I don't need you to do any digging on that. I can find it myself now, so.
I think they're reserved all the time.
And Saturdays are really a common one.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
In the summer, we'll hit Friday, Saturday, and potentially Sundays.
Very good. Thank you for that information, everybody. First thing in Congdon Park, we have the tree replacement planting update from Eric Funkhauser. Eric, I'm sorry I misunderstood. Well, tell me if I'm misunderstanding. Were you waiting on us to tell you which trees we wanted selected for that location?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I was necessarily waiting on a specific tree, it's just that I know we have a list of trees, but I also, I'm seeing like the information of incorporating native trees that will draw in native insects and all the other things that go along with that, so when
Gotcha.
that kind of, that kind of throws a wrench in my engine a little bit, cause, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, a tree's a tree to me. I don't care, it's made of what's got roots and stuff.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I'm at, and it's like when I see that you're requesting something that's native, that I don't understand that language, and I don't really
Mhm.
comprehend that part,
Gotcha.
so.
I'll be honest with you, Eric. I'm still learning that. I don't understand it really well either. And it's only something that I've come to begin to understand in the last couple of years. So not understanding how natives work versus non-natives versus invasives, like It's nothing anybody needs to feel bad about.
What kind of a
So-
list do you have for
Well,
trees?
One thing I wanted to point out for Eric, the list that was provided by Mrs. Conrad, well, the list, there were 4 trees recommended. And I looked at those today, and of those 4, 3 of them are native to Indiana. The one that isn't is the Norway spruce.
Yeah, I
So-
liked, I'm not sure I would put a spruce there, but the other varieties looked appealing to me anyways.
Yeah, yeah, and that was a white oak.
Yeah, this is the
And
white oak.
yeah, Linda, do you have information on the ones that she recommended? Did you-
Yeah,
did you
that's
have
the
any
white oak.
input? Okay,
And she recommended the white oak and then the black
red
gum
maple in
tree.
there?
the black gum. I'm sorry, what was that?
Was there a red maple involved in that as well?
No,
She didn't recommend that, but that is one that came up in my search on the Indiana Native Plant Society website. A red maple would be another one that would be good for that location.
we had a lot of red maples in there before, and the root system was really hard. Of course, it was on the hill.
And
So those
wasn't
roots
that the
really
issue with
showed
them?
up. That was the big issue with them,
Mhm.
and people were tripping and falling and.
Yeah.
And, so we had to get rid of them.
My maples at home do that as well. The roots come up above the ground and it makes it rough to mow around.
And
Difficult.
that's, Mrs. Conrad addressed that in her email, and she recommended, and it's something that I think is a good idea too, because I used to mow and I'd hated trying to weed eat around
Oh,
trees and
wood
things.
mulch, yeah.
Using wood mulch, or another thing is if we have native ground cover that you can plant in a circle around the bottom, that doesn't even require mulching. But the other thing is getting the tree planted at the right depth. And there's some trees are gonna have roots that come up to the surface, whether they're at the right
Well-
depth or not, but if you have a large area of mulch around it, then the roots are coming up in the mulch area, not where people are walking and tripping and mowers are having to deal with it. So Eric, I don't know how detailed you had planned for the trees, but I think it would be a good idea to consider doing a circle of mulch or ground cover around the outside, and I can assist with anything you
That's
need
not a
on that.
problem for us to do that. I mean, the gator bag idea and then having the mulch, that, all that's gonna be relatively straightforward for us.
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to the trees and style, I guess, I'm not really too savvy on the whole native idea of things. But when I look at a park, I see that you want a tree that provides a lot of shade, that is not a gangly thing like what the locust that we currently have out there now. And after kind of seeing how those have been, they don't seem like they're high. They all need to come down.
These,
Yeah,
you can see the maps. I'm sharing the map. Is that correct, Eric?
yes.
Yeah, so all of these are the black locust trees or some locust trees, all of these in this area.
Yes, most of those are the ones that are closest to the playground equipment. We actually had one decent sized branch, snap and land into another tree. A decent sized, and I'm thinking that there's not really any kind of shade that these things provide. They really don't provide anything good, other than just the fact that it's a tree. It doesn't provide any shade, they're ugly. So my thoughts, my opinions are is to wipe those out completely, put something in, that has kind of more of a bigger umbrella to it. Whatever tree that may be, maybe like a red maple, which has been suggested, something that has a nice outreach, provides shade, and that actually just looks good in color. That's at least where I'm at with this.
Okay.
And then once I have an idea of what species I can, that's wanted or that everybody can agree on, I can then go to a nursery and say, hey, I'd like to have, 2 white oaks or 3, red maples or 2 ginkgos or however that looks. And then I can get accurate pricing for that, because I'm sure that there's a price difference between a little sapling pine and a red maple.
Yeah, there is gonna be, and we're gonna want something that's bigger and gonna be able to grow in and provide shade earlier. We don't wanna start with just little saplings. So there's gonna be increased cost and then also increase, effort on whoever's doing the tree planting. It's a lot harder than just doing something small. I would say one of the things I've come across in my research, like as far as terminology, I know what you're saying, like we don't want trees that just grow so fast that they have all these limbs that are falling all the time and just causing a mess. So one of the things that I think Mrs. Conrad pointed out is that we want something that's slow growing. And that's the term that you'll find in searching for trees. A slow growing tree is one that grows 1 to 2 feet a year. And so with that in mind, you know,
In
if
10
we-
to 15 years, they can grow 12 to 15 feet.
yeah.
That's what
So
this
that's
one says.
roughly 1 foot a year, is considered slow growth. And if we have a slow growth tree, it's gonna be less likely to have limbs that are dropping and, you know, maintenance is having to clean that up all the time. But that's something to keep in mind too. If we start with trees that are 7 feet tall, you know, it's gonna be 15, 20 years before they provide any shade. And so that's my only reluctance to taking any more trees out until we get some more planted in. I think if we have trees that are posing a risk of limbs coming down and causing injury, certainly we need to take those out. But I think the park is gonna look really barren if we think that if we are just gonna take out all the trees and then plant these, because the trees are not gonna be big enough to provide shade or, you know, much of a, you know, that you're not gonna notice them in the park as much,
It'll be the Cummins
for
complaint.
15 years. What's up?
It'll be the Cummins complaint where we don't have any shade around the
Yeah.
splash pad.
Yeah,
Should we take I was just looking at this and I want to go back on the Norway spruce now because I have another idea. So what if we follow through with some of Eric's suggestion that we take a few more of these trees out in this area and maybe plant 5 or 6, group them all in here. Then as these grow, then we can start taking down some of these others maybe. But what if we put the Norway spruce right in the center with the idea that eventually that becomes the town's Christmas tree for decorating the town? Instead of the one over here, we move it right to our park downtown. Just an idea.
she did provide a recommendation for an evergreen that is a native. The Norway spruce is one that is not.
It was a hemlock, wasn't it?
Colorado blue spruces will get pretty big over time. Give them time.
Yeah.
Well,
So
just
the
an
other thing I
idea.
mentioned,
And that's thinking like 10 years out.
An eastern hemlock or Norway spruce is what she recommended.
Yeah.
And then the black gum tree and the white oak tree.
and the eastern hemlock was the one that is native to Indiana.
Yeah, the eastern hemlock is.
The Norway spruce is not. And
And the black gum tree, you know, kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. That's what it is. I mean, and you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's brilliant colors.
mhm,
I like this tree. However, it has a taproot. That's makes it difficult to purchase the tree because of transportation of it. But this tree right here,
and you're talking about the
Whether
black
it's-
gum right now?
yeah, the
Okay.
black gum tree, it has, you know, one of the slow growers. So it has a long lifespan, can last over 650 years. Like I said, the taproot makes it hard for transportation in order to purchase the thing. On the average, they grow a height of 30 to 60 feet. And they're 20 to 30 feet wide.
So you get a
They
nice
have-
shade.
Yeah,
trees.
so, yeah, the potential to reach the
California.
height of
Redwood.
75, yeah, 75 feet optimal. But they say that they're storm resistant, which is really, really nice.
Right,
And that the only thing that's bad is that they do have and that's not really bad because all the animals love them, the fruit that it
Mhm.
produces a little
Mhm.
bit, you know, when it drops that, it can be a little bit messy underneath the tree, but you know, that's pretty much what it, you know. Deeply red resembles alligator skin. When you cut the trunk, you'll see light wood. But it's pretty much pest and disease free. So and it tells you if there are some how to do it.
black gum,
Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree.
So I guess when I'm
But is it-
really pushing you guys, we need to plant these this month.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you want to take down any more trees that are, or just plant the 5 that we're going to choose tonight?
I would
Yeah.
not support taking down trees until we get others planted, unless they pose a safety risk.
I think that those black locusts pose a safety risk, and they're really not providing anything positive to that park, Michael. And if I'm being, transparent with that, cause I've already had a couple branches landing, snap, landing the other tree. I just don't see the benefit of those being there.
Okay, could we get a second
And
opinion?
it's not, it wouldn't leave it completely bare. I want you to keep that in mind as well, that there are a few other trees out there. That are taking up space, so it's not like it's gonna be like this desert island of, nothing.
But all the trees aren't locust trees.
Not all these trees in the center are locust?
No.
No,
So how many are locust trees?
How
you
many
wanna
are
take
locust
down
trees?
Versus leave?
Let me zoom in here if I can. So there's. So right, northeast of the pavilion there, the first one. Right there, yep, back a cursor up to your right and then down. Yep, that guy, that's a locust. And then the 2 to the left are locusts as well. Those, we've actually had issues with those 2 right there with mouse that. Excuse me. So with those kind of being like these straggly things that are just snap, and there's a bunch of dead limbs, I went up there and chopped off what I could, and it's just like, these are just straight up totem poles now. And being that the fact that they're close to the playground equipment, I don't like that.
So you're suggesting these 3 trees come out and we put 5, move all 5 of these in here then?
Yes.
The problem we have right here is I'm not sure what, I know the Corn Dog Festival used this. I'm not sure if Homecoming uses this area.
Uses
I
that.
use it too for the trunk or treat.
Oh,
yeah, I don't think we should put trees there.
no trees here, Eric.
No.
All the trees go in this. This is our tree
I think
line.
we should, if where we're putting the trees, my suggestion, and I didn't know we were talking about moving these 2, I was saying that we should probably put one here as well. So that when people are out here looking at like bands playing and whatnot, they see like a full canopy behind.
So
So you-
kind of an arch through this area.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
While I don't disagree with that, it does make load-in for events pretty tricky, as most folks back the trailers in between those trees.
Right in
Yep.
here.
No, between the top 2.
Between here.
Oh, in
Yep.
here.
Yep, that's typically where trailers and equipment are backed into for load-in for
And I wouldn't plant a tree
AV
next
equipment.
too close to a walking path for roots. Cause those roots could just push up our walking path then as well.
Well, if we take some of these down, we could put another one up in here.
Yeah, I can have Bam grind those stumps, and I mean, that leaves a nice void. We can put, black dirt, we can get a good root system started even where a grinded or ground out stump is. We're gonna swap a little bit more. Obviously, we're not gonna wanna do anything south of the pavilion,
No,
just right.
kind of like,
What about where the real lift station was at, or where the lift station's at, where we took some of the trees out there? Is
oh,
that
over here, put some trees in here.
Or do we wanna avoid that because of that new lift
I would
station?
not put tree near those.
That's right. Yeah, no trees next to the,
What about
Or-
a spot like that?
like right here.
Yeah, I think keeping them in this area is what people have requested, because they want shade when they're, sitting at a picnic table watching their kids play.
Right where that mouse is, that would be a great location, I feel, for a shorter white canopy owl tree.
And then move,
Does
Then-
Homecoming use that area? I mean, and we don't need, the festivals can
Yeah.
adjust us, so.
Is that gonna
I
be
mean, they-
okay? Because that's
they-
one of the things I've always heard as a opposition to planting any trees, is that any trees we plant there are gonna get in their way.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I personally think parks are supposed to have nature in them and trees are a part of that,
I don't
so
know that I would,
that's.
I don't know that I would care about that, but
If we did,
one there and then one to the right of it, where those three are, one there,
Mhm.
and then one out where you want in that, yeah, corner there, so move the two trees to,
So
there.
those two trees there
Yeah.
and
so
there.
one to there and
One-
one to there.
Yeah.
One here, Eric, and one in this area.
So here, take the three trees down there, but the rest stay.
Yep, these two get
yeah,
moved.
take those three locusts out and leave the rest.
Yeah,
Does anybody else think we should get a second opinion on the safety risk of those before we take anything out?
I think we should take those locusts.
Because you know that we've
But I don't
had,
think they're gonna ever get any better, Michael.
it's just to keep something in there while the other trees kind of grow up.
Well, but
Because
there
we've
are
had so many
other
frequent
trees
comments
over
that we
there.
don't have enough.
Yeah, you
trees
do have
for.
other trees there.
We
Yeah.
have other trees up in.
I mean, the storm wiped out the legitimacy of the grove of trees that we had in there.
Yeah.
You're needing to replace that because it really doesn't, it's not providing any shade, so we kind of need to get going on it.
Right, that's what I'm saying, plant some stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's not a safety risk, wait, like.
But if you're wanting to cram those other two, put those other two trees in there, we have to clear some space in order to do that, so.
Yeah.
So can I add one more thing? I really like Mike's suggestion on a spruce of some sort. Looking at the native, the hemlock, I don't think that would be a good suggestion for a Christmas tree. The
No, if
branches
you're-
aren't gonna hold
Yeah.
anything.
If you're,
If
if
that's
you're
the
wanting, if you're wanting a
purpose of
Christmas
it.
tree down there, we need to go with the one that's not native,
This, yeah, exactly,
or it won't accomplish
But I
what
like that
you're looking
idea.
for.
Spruce,
because
like-
it's gonna take a few years to get a nice looking Christmas tree.
yeah, it's like a 10-year plan.
And I would say the
Yeah.
fire department, I'm not saying let's move next year to it, but their tree, is starting to thin out a little bit too. And
That's what I was gonna ask, is there a reason that one's not working out anymore?
I just don't know how long it's gonna last, so.
Yeah, it's not so much it's not working out, but if you could have that kind of a tree in your
Right.
main park, with. And,
And you can still
and that
decorate
event got to be bigger
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
added your downtown to,
Yeah, you need an
that-
option if that,
That's my fear.
yeah.
Yeah,
What's our plan B?
Gotcha. Do you guys want me to have a specialist come and talk to us about why natives are beneficial? Cause I don't feel like I'm well versed enough in it to really explain it. But that was
Well, it's
the
not-
feedback we
I
got
mean,
from the community, is
yeah.
that they wanted to see native plants
the-
that attract native insects. that
And
attract native
you're
birds.
currently doing that, but if you want to have some sort of a Christmas looking
That's what I was
tree, you're
saying.
gonna have to probably step outside that box and put a tree in there that will do that.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's why I was saying it might be helpful for us to have somebody that understands it better than I come and talk about it, because there can be, I don't know about the blue spruce, but there can be non-native plants that are actually detrimental to your local ecosystem. Funnily enough, a bush called a butterfly bush is really terrible for the butterfly population. Like, it will kill butterflies. And I realize that's different than a blue spruce, but like I said, I think there's reasons you plant native and other reasons you don't plant non-native that I don't think any of us in this room
A
are
native one would be
well
a
versed
fir.
enough to, or a fir.
So those are really good options for this area, and it's a native tree.
Yeah.
Just another suggestion, if you want to keep it native. I'm not
Yeah.
against it, I'm just saying the hemlock wouldn't work.
Yeah, right. And that's, I think, it just takes a little bit of extra legwork to find the natives that will work. And I think that's something we should do. It is something that was requested from us by the public in our community feedback sessions. Multiple people did request that. So I think, if we can do a little extra legwork and find that, like you said, a fir is a good
Mhm.
native pine tree that could be a good Christmas tree. I'd love to see that, see the Christmas tree plant or lighting going on in our parks, especially right there.
This
That
all
seems like a
has
good
to be
location.
done before the end of April. This needs to be done
Right.
now. if
Yeah.
we're wanting to do that.
yeah.
But these trees are
We
gonna
need
be
to
here
get these.
15, 20, 35 years. We also don't wanna rush it and make a
We
decision.
can, we can get these 5 planted and do that evergreen,
This fall or next.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me clear things up then. What 5 trees are we going with? So that I can proceed forward with this and get them planted.
So I would say the white oak.
This,
the black gum,
The old gum tree, the black gum tree.
the eastern hemlock. And another one that I feel like is very similar, or you also said the red maple that you requested or recommended, Eric.
Yep.
And another one that's very similar to the white oak is the basswood,
This would be good to have 3 of these.
and this is the black gum she's
Because of
talking
the
about here.
coloring.
Okay, so you want 3 black gum, what are your other 2?
Well, I think the black gum,
Right.
didn't you say that's gonna be hard to come by or hard to transplant because
Well,
of
we
that
have
root?
to ask. And we have to, we'd have to go to your tree place and see if they can get those.
So what's a plan B if you can't?
I think we should just give him
White
the tree species that we want, and he can get us pricing and availability.
That's all I need. I just need a list of what species, so that I have good information going forward, whether they have them or they don't have them.
Okay.
And get you accurate pricing and going forward.
Okay, so you got your pen?
Yeah.
Okay, white oak.
I was gonna say, we're doing this right now.
We're doing it. White oak, black gum,
White oak, black gum,
eastern hemlock,
eastern hemlock,
and basswood.
basswood.
And those should get us started. So if you can find out what they have, what they can get us costs, just email those to us as soon as you got them.
And if they don't have them, we go to the ginkgo and maple.
Oh, yeah, red maple is on your list. I haven't looked at the ginkgo at all. Is that one we've confirmed is native?
It's
Well, I see them all over, but
ginkgo trees.
Yeah, I see a lot of Bradbury pear
Are-
too.
are-
It's-
Highly thought of.
what's that?
The ginkgo trees
And those are
highly thought of.
Very evasive.
trees.
Yeah, that's why I said that one. Those are super invasive. So just because we see a lot of it doesn't mean that it's a good one. So, yeah, did that give you a list to get going, Eric?
Yeah, well, let me read this back. I got white oak, my pen died halfway through, so I gotta read this. White oak, black gum, red maple, and what was the other 2 again? I'm sorry.
Black gum.
Eastern hemlock
Eastern hemlock, that's right.
and basswood. Basswood. That's one that's good for insects, birds, it attracts all the pollinators and whatnot.
Okay.
So,
Attract all the bees to our park for the
Yeah.
kids.
yeah. Well, the thing is, they attract native pollinators, native bees, native wasps that they can predate on the negative species that we don't want. Wasps are actually really good for a garden, by the way, because they eat all the bad insects. And as long as you keep calm, they don't sting you.
All right,
Okay,
Okay, anything else you need from us, Eric, to get that going?
Nope, that's all I need. I'm good there.
Okay. And you got the location kind of figured out? We'll go back to the
Yeah.
location once you give us an idea of the trees, because we can look at the overall size that they're gonna get, because that'll determine what we plant where as well. All right, next thing we have is the flower planting update in Congdon, and I'm referring there to what Kathy Antonelli proposed. And I'm just going back to what I said earlier, is that she's not gonna do anything with that until mid-May. She is working on native plants, and she's working on filling in around the stairwell at Congdon and going down the hill. That's the current plan. Does anybody have any requests, thoughts, questions about that? The one thing we kind of want to get figured out, and Eric, this kind of goes to you and your department. Do we prefer stone or mulch or a mixture of the two?
If I was gonna do anything, I would prefer stone. Requires less maintenance. Mulch is just a thing you have to do every year.
Yep.
So, stone.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's just totally up to you. The only thing with stone is if we ever have to move it or remove it, that's a whole heck of a lot of work as well. I've had to do that by shovel before, but you've got equipment and tools to do that, so that's probably less daunting. So, all right, I will let Kathy know you're leaning towards stone. And I assume she's gonna be coming to the next meeting, or at least providing us with information on what she proposes for that for next month. Okay, anything else on the flower planting in Congdon? Okay, next one is Cummins Park. First thing we had is repairs to the exercise equipment. Eric, I just wanted to say thank you and let everybody know that there was a piece of exercise equipment that was busted. And I let Mike and Eric know, and within about 24 hours, Eric had it fixed and back in working order. So thank you very much for doing that, Eric. I noticed from the time I reported it, I noticed two, three different kids getting on it trying to use it. So it was good that you got it quick, fixed so quickly.
They weren't trying to take it apart.
No, they were trying really hard to get that elliptical machine to work, and and the axle was busted, so
Oh, I see.
they were trying really hard. But it works great and looks good, so just wanted to give Eric some kudos. He did a good job on that. Thank you, Eric.
I spoke to a vendor, and which Eric, I can send you that information in the future if we need to ever replace a piece of equipment. But they said if we ever need parts, we have to go back to Try America directly, which is the company that makes that equipment. The folks that used to, I think we ordered that through, they're no longer in business. So if we end up needing a new vendor, like I said, I did come across that info. But that vendor said that they can't get parts. You have to go directly to Try America to
Try
get
America.
replacement parts. They do exist. But that company got bought and sold and they're back in existence again. But that's something that I can try and track down a little further if we eventually need that info. So.
Yeah, I would like that info just to keep in our back pocket because I'm sure something's gonna break again.
All right.
I have their catalog, Try America.
Okay.
Okay, great. Jill has the catalog if you didn't hear that, Eric.
Yeah. We can't order
Wonderful. Thank
pieces
you.
of equipment from Try America, but we can order parts from them. So,
Great. Okay, next thing we have is the pickleball court reserve app.
So oops, sorry, just a quick one page.
Thank you, this is great.
Yeah, so Mark and Debbie George were around with the creation of our pickleball courts before pickleball was even really a thing in our area. With that being said, they were stepping down with the managing of the Cummins Park and actually several of their parks. What does that mean? So it means that we're gonna need more daily maintenance, probably taking the nets down, putting them up, along with an option of managing the court reserve app. So court reserve app's been around since day one. It's a app that the players are very familiar with. They know it. Funny story, last week we actually had someone say, where's the app? Like they're ready to make reservations to start playing because the nets are up. It's not up yet because the Georgia's stepping away. There are some options for us. The one option I am going to recommend to the council is continue with court reserve. If you see there, in season, it would cost us for the number of courts that we have, $199 a month. That would be for 7 months. It would be in season. So we're talking April to, I think, right around October, November. Off-season months would cost us $59 a month. Basically, it just goes dormant. It is an investment of $1,688. With the app, we can block out, let's say, for example, the Corn Dog's going to have a pickleball tournament. We can block that out so people are not showing up in the frustration that could cause those who wanted to play that day. We can block it out when we're doing maintenance and power washing. And it also just keeps it very organized. There are several groups that come down Mondays, mornings through the week. There's groups that have it scheduled for the evenings. Without the app, I'm afraid of the lack of organization that's going to happen. And if you remember when the pickleball courts first opened, even with the app, it was just some confusion. So everyone got acclimated to the app. This person was on the court for too long. This person didn't know they had to make a reservation. We have about 320 players that are active on our app with Cummins Park right now, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
They're followers. They can use the app, depending on what courts decide to continue with it. They could go to Woodland. Um, Pickleball House, that they have their own app, so they don't use Court Reserve. I don't know if they have courts, I'm sorry, guys, I'm not an avid pickleballer, but, I can tell you personally, I use the app, it does not cost the individual anything to get in there and book a 2 hour session with their family. It's very easy to use. Debbie is willing to walk me through the process of basically the training side of it. I don't think there's a lot that's gonna be involved with the app itself, as in managing it. We block out the dates. I might have to get in there to block out if we're gonna power wash it, or any kind of maintenance that might close the courts down, or if we have a pickleball tournament. That's about the only thing I really feel like the managing aspect's gonna be. I'm willing to take that on, like I said, because I don't think it's going to take a lot of time.
Mhm.
I really think it's gonna just be a better experience for the community because they're used to it, they know it, they're familiar with it.
So the Georges were actually paying this
They
last
were,
year?
They've been covering the fee.
I
And
didn't
the fee has
realize.
gone up
I did.
drastically
That,
since
when
it
we
started.
put this in, that was what they came in and
Yeah,
when they pitched this whole idea to us, that was part of their proposal was they would cover this on
Yeah.
behalf of the community.
And at that time, it was more like $50 a month, not 200.
No, it's been pretty expensive.
yeah, I think,
Well, I spoke
Yeah.
with Mark and he said the prices.
It's
He's
crept
the
up
one that-
every year,
Yeah.
but yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't start out
And-
low, but they covered it.
Right, yeah,
Which-
they did
Yeah.
cover it, and they were covering multiple other parks.
Yeah, and that's
which
what I
is why
didn't,
It was like.
that's
at the
why I
time,
didn't
if it
realize
was-
that. I thought they were only doing this for us and then they
Yeah.
started taking on all this other venture.
Yeah, I got the impression that it was like 6 to 8 other courts that they were managing and paying for the court reserve, and when it was, say, $50 a month, that was one thing, but now it's gone up 4 times, and
another cool,
that's one of the reasons they said they weren't able to continue doing it. And I think it's also something we should take into consideration, is this price is likely to go up in future years. If the past is
Like
any
anything.
demonstration of what's going on with it now. So 1,700 this year, it might be 2,000 in a year or 2 years, so it's something we need to consider.
one more thing to add to this is, well, actually a couple of things, is we can also send messages out to people if we ever need to relay any kind of information with our courts. But, yes, it is an investment. Yes, it could go up. I don't know in the past, like the past 5 years with the Georges, if they've seen annual increases or if they've seen just maybe a couple in that time. But we do have an endowment now that we have a resident that really saw the value in parks and what we are doing. And I think these are kind of improvements, if we are able to continue, that endowment fund could easily take care of, and it would not impact the actual park fund itself.
Could we look into, or have we, I know that there have been fundraisers done on the courts in the past. Have there been any specifically for, well, I mean, the parks weren't funding this type of thing, but could we look into doing an annual pickleball tournament that would help cover the cost of the app? And actually phrase it that way so that people, that want to use the app can, we can let them get some buy-in on helping support the cost of that.
I had the same idea.
Okay.
You need the app just to, it gets complicated, messy, and anger, and everything happens without this organizational structure. But a lot of those courts are used, by my sense is, by people from outside of town. So we're providing service to people outside of town. So how do you tap into their finances to, help pay for this? So maybe that's the way, a tournament or.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not against the tournament, but who would run and organize that tournament?
It would be somebody from
Well,
here.
and then
Georges
what-
always did that
Then what
Right.
is the cost of actually doing that?
tournament.
with
Yeah, they
the
took care of,
tournament?
they handled all that too.
Yeah,
I mean, it would cost us to put on tournament, I would think. We'd have to feed them or whatever, and
if we had some more downtown
I just,
venues that people are coming to play pickleball, then they go eat supper downtown or dinner downtown, I guess, then it's easy to justify then, but now they're playing and going home, I think, but maybe that'll change.
Right.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I guess I spoke with some of you guys, I don't remember who all I spoke with, but in my initial email replying to your, bringing this up, Jill, I was originally saying like, that's a pretty big expense. Why don't we just let the app go dormant, see what happens? But after that, hold on, I haven't finished
No,
talking.
Finish.
After that initial response, I did have a lengthy conversation with Mark George, and he explained all the pros and cons. And I would say that like, I'm really on the fence about it. I can see there being benefit to keeping it, but I also see that's a pretty high price tag, especially if that's annually and especially if that's likely to go up. But he did explain, basically kind of what would happen possibly, potentially, if we don't have the app. And I, kind of was jokingly saying that there'd be roving bands of pickleball gangs that would come and take over the courts. But essentially, if we don't have a structure for organizing the schedule,
Mhm.
other people will create their own structure. And what type of difficulty or problems does that pose for our parks? We don't want people getting into fights. We don't want,
Pickleball wars.
we don't want the pickleball wars that,
And
have
people-
torn apart other local
Yeah.
communities that didn't do this, so.
Fortunately, there's a lot more choices than when this first came about.
Right,
When Goshen put theirs in, they had pickleball wars.
right,
They did that, and they were one of the towns that got a hold of me and said, don't install this, you'll regret every minute of it. I don't think we've regretted it, but I
Yeah.
think it's probably because we did this to begin with. We had that first summer where we had people showing up wanting to tell us what to do with
Right.
our courts. I don't have the tolerance for that.
Right.
People coming in here and shaking their fist at me in a meeting like I had for a couple meetings here. And I'm not, this eliminates that.
right, right,
And so I think if we're, from a management standpoint, none of us are capable of managing this. So we need to create an easy avenue for this, I think, is,
yeah.
is my
I
thought
mean-
on this. And this is probably the easiest thing to do.
The other option is having signs out there explaining that if other people are waiting to play, you can only play for a certain amount of time, but then you get into, are people gonna follow that?
And keep in mind,
Exactly,
there's
right,
always,
so-
even with this, there's always 2 open courts.
Yep.
For people to wander up to and just open play on. So
Yeah.
even if those 4 are reserved, there's always 2 that are gonna be turned over,
Right,
that
yeah,
are for that person that shows up and go, oh, I didn't know there was an app.
Yeah.
So there, people can always walk up,
mhm,
so.
Michael, I'm with you. It's an investment, right?
Yeah.
An investment that I guess I wasn't even aware that the Georges were contributing towards. But with us managing it, I think we will be able to monitor, okay, how many people are actually using the commons, right?
Yeah.
And if we can
Yeah.
monitor that for 1 year or a
Right.
season,
right,
and if we see, I don't see this happening, at least right now, but if we see that there's only 12 people that actually use this, then we're not getting, I don't see it
Right.
in the best.
And that's what Debbie, when she talked to me about a month ago, that's what she said to me. There's already courts in the area that are dropping this because they tried it, saw that they didn't have this use that they thought they did, because there's now so many other options
right,
that they're finding that they don't have, they're letting it manage it themselves.
right,
And
So
I'm not
that's-
going by the numbers that. was
Yeah,
shared with
and
me.
right.
Yeah, we might
Yeah.
find that too. I mean, I completely agree with that.
So if we keep it going, if we don't keep it going, I'd like to one way or another monitor
just-
how many people are still playing down there.
Yeah, I
because-
just know every morning and all day long, and it doesn't bother me. I hear it all day.
Yeah.
If it's
Worse,
a nice day, I
worse
hear it
noise
all
than
day,
video.
7 days a week.
yeah,
Last Friday, we got to play for a few hours. There were 12 people down there.
And it's in the morning. I mean, it's all day long.
yeah.
So,
But that is one thing that came up in my conversation with Mark. He was explaining how many new courts there are, and I got the impression that a lot of pickleballers prefer indoor courts, and there's a lot more indoor court options now.
yeah.
So I
I mean, you got it in
don't
downtown
want to say it,
Elkhart,
but
you have
yeah.
it in Middlebury. Those are all indoor, all
Yeah.
nice, cool and regulated. But
Yeah.
I mean, we have a pretty established group of folk that come here
Right.
and play. you know.
Right, and if they're relying on the app and we take the app away and then they start going elsewhere because of that, that's something we have to consider too.
Yeah.
So, that's why I think my initial thought of just letting it go dormant, and then if we have enough people come to us and complain about it, we say, okay, would you like to volunteer to help run a fundraiser to cover the cost? Or, Um, um, so yeah, the other side of this, well, let's finish talking about the app before we talk about the maintenance of the courts.
I think we should continue with with the app.
I think if we,
People are already doing it. And then, like you said, monitor it, and if we find out that it's not worth it, then we can drop it.
Yeah.
But I think that since we started it from the very beginning, I think we should still continue it until we see a need that it doesn't need to be done.
Jill, can I ask you a question regarding that? You said you have approximately 320 players that are active on the map, is that on the app? Is that 320 players that are signed up or that are actively using it? Do you have a way of within the app to
I can
see?
verify with Debbie, but the impression I took was each person who signs up, they're using specific courts. And that's what she was showing for Woodland and Cummings Park.
So like when this individual signs up to like reserves a court for this Saturday, they're considered an active player. Is that what you mean?
That's
Okay.
how I took it.
If,
So I think when I signed up, this was 2 years ago,
mhm,
I specified the courts that I was wanting to play at. Now, I could go back and switch courts if I wanted to go to Woodland that night,
mhm.
but I think that's where she got the information.
So I'm just curious to see how we can manage the metrics of this. Because for example, I'm a member on the app, but I haven't played since my back went out. So I wouldn't consider myself active.
Okay.
So if we
that's
can find
fair.
out who's actively making reservations, then we can see like if those numbers are going up, they're up or down.
And that's what I was thinking, but we're managing our court. Like she said, they have
Yeah.
40,000 in Elkhart County, and I don't know how many courts they do have under this. So
Right.
that's what she told me this morning with the numbers.
Yeah.
That was my question as well. How many members do we have?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure the app has that information. It's just whether they're tracking it and tracking it in a way that we can access that data. If we can access how many unique users are reserving a court throughout a month or throughout a summer, then we'd be able to tell whether that's increasing or decreasing. And if it's, if that gets down to like maybe only 20 people, I would have a hard time, saying that, yeah, it's okay to spend 1,700 to 2,000 to
I agree.
for 20 people. But if it's 320 people, and if we did say, for example, let it go dormant next year and we see that number totally drop off.
So I do want to share, for example, I have the account, but my whole family, 4 or 5 people are playing.
Mhm.
So your numbers could be just who's signing up. It's not who's playing.
Yeah.
So you gotta take that
Yeah.
in consideration too.
Yeah. So it's how many individuals are reserving a court? Because I mean, assuming like when you reserve a court as an individual, the assumption is that there's at least 3 other people there playing with you.
At least one.
But yeah, yeah,
But you're right. But it's not
Um,
gonna give us actual numbers of who's playing.
Yeah.
But it's who's reserving, how many people
Yeah.
are utilizing the app.
yeah. I guess that's kind of what I would be more interested in seeing is how many people are using the app on a monthly basis to
Yeah.
reserve the court.
I agree.
And then if we can just see whether that goes up or down, season to season. Because if we keep the app, we keep everything going the same and we see that number goes down next year and goes down the year after that, we could be seeing what could be a possibility is that people are starting to go to some of these other courts. I mean, you obviously understand the impact that all the construction is gonna have downtown. That's gonna affect how many people come to
We're
the,
gonna be able
do
to
pickleball as well.
physically, we'll be able to physically see this happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as the app stands now, if we,
Scott
if
will
we get
hear
it,
it, he'll know whether
yeah,
it's
if we,
going
if we
down.
figure out where
We'll
they're at,
physically be able to look at those courts,
but I'm able to go on here once I start reserving and it shows every most
Mhm.
recent time. And so that's a metric you can find out is who's
Right, how much
using our
open.
court.
Right, right. Okay, so let's kind of start keeping track of that and as much as possible, associate numbers with it. Like if you go in and look and you're like, every court is open every hour for the next the next week, write that down. Write down the date.
Well, most people don't research the day of.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so you're saying
So,
short. is-
yeah. Can you look back?
It's not live right now.
Yeah, currently it's not
Okay,
effective.
all right.
Once
So
it goes
regardless of whatever
actually,
numbers
once it
we're
goes
able to
live, I'll
see-
be able to go in and
Yes.
look at my entire history and hear
Exactly.
myself,
Okay,
which is whoever the administrator is would be able to look at player where they're playing.
okay.
So with that being said, we could maybe do it month by month. We can evaluate it in 3 months, or we just wait till the whole season, but maybe this year, next year's not the greatest.
Yeah.
With our road construction, I don't know. Those measuring tools.
How soon do we need this figured out?
Well, you're not meeting until next month, so we can wait till next month to do it, but that means the app is not going live.
Right.
But it's not like a year-long contract we're signing up for, right? It's month to month. So
No,
we
you can
could,
cancel it anytime.
so we
It
could
is.
do a month and,
This court reserve app is specifically for pickleball players.
It can
We
be
convert the
longer,
courts into badminton courts and drop the app. No more court reserve for pickleball.
but-
I love it.
What?
Convert the courts into badminton courts, and then we lose the pickleball following.
Yeah,
Drop the app.
but that following.
Which would be the same- Which would be the same
Badminton is so much
following for that we had for
quieter, too.
tennis, which
Right.
would be 0.
I was gonna say, our,
Yeah.
Cummins is beautiful going down there, and it's full of people, families.
Yeah. Yeah, that pickleball brings
I think
herds
that-
of people into that
Well,
park.
seeing
I
that,
think
yeah.
we've discussed
Yeah.
this a lot. I think we ought to just decide. I think we should keep that.
Yeah, now that you know we
Keep
can
it
do it
right
month,
now.
we can do it month to month and cancel anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You would
make a
make
motion, I make a motion that we keep our pickleball app.
Would you be okay with an addendum that says through the end of this season? And we relook at it at the end of the season?
Well, which we would normally do anyway,
Okay.
but I continue at this time with our pickleball app.
Okay. So you have a motion to continue the pickleball app until the end of the season, at which time we will look back at it. I will second that. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Knowing that we're gonna be monitoring it monthly.
Right.
Okay.
I imagine there's reports I can provide you monthly,
Okay, that'd be great. Did we get an aye from?
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Linda proposed, I seconded, all in favor. So we will continue that going through till the end of the season, keeping track of numbers as best we can. Trying to get feedback too, especially if you're out there talking to people, just think to ask them, hey, are you guys using the app? Are you using the app? And if you start to see that kind of answer dwindling off, that's something that can help us with that decision as well. I think we should also consider, trying to do a fundraiser. And
Who's that?
I don't know.
we have some ghosts in the machine.
I think that,
Not on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a fundraiser is gonna cost us money, so.
Well, any fundraiser is gonna cost money to run, but if you run it correctly, you bring in more than what you expend on it. The 1,700 it's a bit of a chunk of change annually,
not for
so I think we should try to offset.
people that you're servicing.
One thing the motion didn't include, and maybe that's okay, but do you guys want to use the endowment money for that, or do you want to use your park funds this year with that?
I just assume use the parks funds if we could.
We can use the contractual services if you like, yeah.
Isn't that one that we're already kind of pretty high on, or?
No, but there's some,
You're not too, I mean,
Other-
was it 32%? I mean, over 20, I mean, it wasn't large. You know what you could do, use half of it in park and use the other half in the endowment too.
Do we typically earmark what funds they come out of when we vote to approve funds?
You can. I mean, it's an option. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that a decision we can discuss and get back to you next month? Okay, all right. Because I'm just, until we know like what's going on with the contractual services.
That's fine,
We
we can wait till May.
Okay. Right, so the other thing that we need to discuss, I guess, I also just wanted to, reiterate or ask again, as far as the management of that app, you feel like you can work that into your
We're
schedule?
aware of that.
Okay, all right. And I know you already spoke with Deb, but Deb, George and Mark have said that they'll give us all the resources we need
Yeah.
to transition over. She said she'll walk whoever is gonna take charge of it through every last little detail, so.
Yeah, she's been texting me daily, so I think,
All right.
yeah, it'd be great.
Great. I've spoken with them and expressed my appreciation to them for all they've done to bring pickleball to the town. I think it's been great for our parks. If you can also express to them
I would
the park board's
actually like, on behalf
gratitude.
of the park board, to send them a thank you card
Yeah, that's what I was just
for
gonna say.
everything
Yeah,
they've done over
if
the
you can
years.
it's a great
get a
idea.
thank you card and let us know when it's available and we'll come by and sign it. Yeah, because they've done a lot for us and
It's the least, yeah.
Yeah, they're not leaving because there was anything necessarily wrong. It was just they were doing a lot of courts and have been very busy managing this and seeing what it takes and what it costs. I can understand why they would need to back away from that a little bit. So the next thing we need to talk about is the regular maintenance for the pickleball courts that they were doing. Jill, has Deb given you any kind of a specific list of this is what we would do on a weekly basis or monthly basis?
No,
Or Scott, do you have an idea in your discussions with Mark, what kinds of things those would be?
No, they came out, when initially when they were doing their things on Sunday, they would look at leaf blowing and things like that. And, he kind of kept stuff in his truck and would come up if he saw leaves in there and take care of that sort of stuff. I, I don't, past that, I don't know of
Okay.
anything else. So
besides taking care of the nets, putting them up and
Yeah.
putting them down.
that's really all that he did. So,
I don't know who squeegeed the floors. We talked about that today. I don't know if it was the players who showed up early to do, work.
yeah, they had like squeegees out there, but I don't know, did those disappear? Did those?
I don't know if our guys took them over the winter or if they disappeared.
Eric, do you know anything about that? The squeegees from the pickleball court?
I never even knew that there were squeegees out there to begin with.
Okay,
Yeah, and there were
So
the
Eric-
first,
Eric-
there were the first couple of years, but then I think
Yeah.
they
There was
quit.
this last year.
Yeah, they would put them out and then I don't know if they just kind of would disappear over
Yeah.
time, but they kind of replaced that stuff themselves. So,
is that just to help dry the courts off if there'd been rain or
Yeah.
early morning dew?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that
Um,
something we need to put out there? We need to purchase some of those? Couple of them?
I'm gonna.
That's what we do. I can buy a
Yes.
couple squeegees. I mean, they're not, they're pretty.
Yeah.
I suggest that that'd be a good idea, Eric.
All right, I can swing by
Why don't,
the store and I'll grab some.
and what are
we
the,
talked to the Georges anyways, why don't you ask them about the squeegees?
Yeah.
Why, and if they're important.
Well, I would maybe ask them for like a quarterly, monthly maintenance, daily, weekly, whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe
whatever
a
they did.
rundown.
cause
Yeah.
the, like
Yeah.
the 3x5 mats or whatever those were, those indoor outdoor mats, they bought those and put those
Did they
out there
buy
too.
those too?
Yeah.
did they? I thought we,
Yeah, those were replaced today, by the way.
Thank you, Eric.
okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Um,
they initially put a set in there.
Okay.
And then those were the originals. And they
Oh,
just
so they
got,
should last 4 or 5 years.
yeah, they lasted a long time. We didn't have to replace those.
And the
So,
guys took
Okay.
out the leaves that were, I think, today
Yeah.
too, so.
I think
You
one
said
got,
maintenance
hit by a
department took care of the
mower or
leaves today?
something one
Okay.
time. I don't know, something. So, but yeah,
We've,
I finally tore, but
We've actually had a good discussion with the park department on just overall park maintenance, and Eric has started a little different structure within that to make sure that our parks are looking better every day.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
that
Um,
includes
appreciate
the
that.
additional, whatever it takes to keep those pickleball courts looking, or in good condition, leaves out, swept, whatever.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that something that maybe you and I could talk about when I come in for my occasional face-to-face sit down with you? I'd like to
Yeah,
know more of what's on that list. So I think that's a great idea. I think that's,
that's not so much a list, it's just focusing the attention of
Mhm.
staff on parks and differently than we have in the past.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'd love to go over that with you. From my impression, as far as like leaf cleanup, I got the impression that there was 1 or 2 days a week that somebody would be out there cleaning up the leaves during the season, especially later season when leaves are starting to come down. So, getting into that, I think if you can talk to Deb and ask her kind of
Yeah.
like what those daily, weekly, monthly tasks were, and then let us know and see if that's something that Eric's department can handle. If we end up hiring a park employee, if that's something that we can have the park employee help pitch in on, or if we need to get out there and work on it. Or again, too, if you're having people come to you that are active players and are coming to ask about the app, we could start putting out feelers with them to say if there are any of those people that are willing to step up and do a little bit of court maintenance as well. I prefer to handle it, not using volunteers, but if for the time being, that's what's needed to keep the courts clean and playable, let's keep that open as an option.
And we might find those who visit often those morning or evenings are doing some of those, like
Right,
getting
yeah,
the leaves out.
yeah. Yeah, and if they're doing that and they just need a rake or something, if there's something we can provide them to help them do it more efficiently.
Yeah.
Let's work together with the people that are using those courts to make it continue to be a fun place to play.
Agree.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, inputs on the change of pickleball courts? Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. That was a good conversation. The next thing we have on our list is Hermance Park. And the first thing we have there is a mural proposal on the pavilion by artist Ashley Feller from Jill. Mike, do you have those images that I shared with you? Probably.
So we don't.
If anybody wants any of these, I can forward you the email. I
These
thought Mike
were
would
in
bring it up
your
and we can
email?
look at them. It's a link to a Google Drive, so I hope you've got Google Drive on there.
Do you want me to introduce this, Michael, or do you want?
Here, this slide deck?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yeah, you said to me that you were thinking like the north side of the pavilion, but, anything else you have?
Yeah, I'll give a
For that
little
as a
backstory.
proposal.
What that's-
Yeah, tell us anything about the artist you have.
Yep,
And what you think?
so I
Fire
met-
away, Jill.
Yeah, thank you. I met with Ashlyn. She is an artist who actually lives in the Napanee area. She has done 2 murals for the town of Wakarusa. And inside this slideshow, I can show you some of those, some of her work. Ashlyn is actually just got a couple years out of college. Look at her spunky. She's so fun. And so she came here on an actually cold day. I took her for a drive around our town because I love murals. And I mean, we're a community that doesn't have any. And I think we have some wonderful buildings that could really showcase some beautiful art. So we went down to Hermance Park. She really loved the building. I mean, she loved the possibility of what she could put on the building. There's potential with the outside of it. So I told her how we're gonna be working on some of the landscaping. And we were thinking the north side, which really, all the people that visit our park, especially their canoe and kayakers, people use the boat launch. And Kathy had some great ideas, maybe like a landscape or maybe canoes, kayaks, something with the river, right on that side of the building. I did tell her.
Side next to the river,
The side that
Yeah.
would face the river.
face the river.
So
That's
the shorter wall.
It's actually
That's the west side.
West side.
the end or the.
Faces the north.
No, it
You
doesn't.
can see it, if it's on the north.
If
that's where
it
the
faces the
fireworks-
north, that's a little Elkhart River.
Okay.
Jill, the end that you're calling north, I think of as the north as well, but when Mike brought up the image from the map last month, I'm like, the back side is really what kind of faces more north, but I think of the same.
You're talking
same
about the
as
side that faces the boat launch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The
west.
shorter end,
That's the
That's
west.
west.
the shorter end.
Northwest. Well, how about?
That's the thing, it's kind of on an angle, so.
Side. How about I'll just reference the side that faces the river, the San
Yeah.
Mateo River.
The side
West side.
visible from the kayak launch.
Yeah.
Right, I'm on the same
We
page.
can
with
talk
you,
about
Jill.
that later. The point is,
I'll show
on
you on a
the
map.
side
Oh, yeah.
of the building.
The west side.
Okay. I'll be educated later.
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna need to bring a compass next meeting and.
That's the north-south flow of the river, and then when you go under the bridge, that turns to being the
this is.
east-west flow.
Next time you're down there, turn on the compass function on your phone.
Yeah.
Just go like this.
All right.
So.
Look at the sun.
Look at that.
This way, west.
Jill, I've got.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll
let's-
slow it
let's
down,
let Jill-
Let's go
Let's let
ahead.
Jill give
All
her proposal to us, please.
So-
Thank you.
I'm for it no matter what side of the river it's on. This is cool.
So anyhow, there's some of her work, Mike. You can see, obviously, there's one of Wakarusa right there. I think if you go back up, Mike, where you were, right there is the other one she did in Wakarusa, which I don't know if you can tell, but that's massive.
Yeah.
The work she did. So that was really, it's just beautiful. And we can sort of tell her like the vision that we would like to see, right? Is it the river? Is it canoes? Is it kayaks? Is it flowers? Is it plants? Is it trees? Is it something native? she's willing to take whatever ideas we have. But that's her slideshow. I would love to share it with all of you and look at it a little bit more, because this is something that would take some time to come up with a design. We thought about something along that kind of, with the river.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool.
I like the river idea. 'cause
Um,
it's one
And
of the-
especially, we know
This is
hundreds
kind of
of
a combination
people
of things.
come in to our park right there to, launch or put in to the river to float. We are also having a business getting ready to open this season right here in Northern Lottville Road that will be doing canoe, and kayak rentals.
So somebody thought, what if we put a mural right along the bridge right there?
Yeah.
Oh,
And these are more things.
side of
She's
West
really
Side.
excited of the possibilities, but we thought what a great first start could be Hermance Park.
Yeah.
mhm.
I did let her know that this building does flood. And she would be doing some research on that as well. Being new, she can't say historically like 20 years if she's ever had to go back and touch stuff up. But there's some other possibilities we were looking at. I will say this right now, we have not talked to any of our business owners. This is just something we were just looking at, and she saw these as potentials. That is the side I was
That's the
thinking.
one. Yep.
Yeah. And I really don't know, like utilizing the windows, what the opportunity, what the design could look like. But
Yeah, I forgot there were that
That's-
many windows on that side.
that's what she can bring to us.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would limit, kind of being able to do a big scene. It would be more
Okay.
difficult. The other thing, Mike, could you show us that side of her minutes again, please, and thank you. The other thing to consider is that we are planning to planting
On
of
the
flowers and things. And this, I think, will lend well to like, if we have some flooding, she maybe doesn't have much below like the bottom 2 feet or so, because there's probably gonna be plants that come up and block some of that. So I would maybe even say to her in the design, take into consideration that the bottom 2, maybe 3 feet, I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be affected by flooding and also is likely to be blocked by vegetation during the spring and
great.
other months.
I've even thought, because we don't have a lot of wall space opportunities in our parks, but maybe we create a wall,
Well, right there's a really big wall
It is a very big wall.
with a
But-
lot
Is that
of
inside of the
population.
museum?
Yeah, but I'm just coming to the
But it's
parks
not a
today,
view.
because maybe we could even build a wall, like whatever that looks like, in Cummins Park, you know what I mean? So we still bring art to our parks,
Mm-hmm.
but
You
we
don't-
just,
Need to build a wall in Cummins, you've got one right there, 2 of them.
if the museum's willing to work
Oh,
with
yeah.
us.
I'll ask.
And I
I'll say
think if
yes.
we're willing to invest in this kind of project, I don't think most people are gonna.
No,
But I just wanna say, in case anyone is listening, I have not talked to any of our businesses, I'm really just showing you the slide and some of the photos that she saw, some really cool opportunities and
Mm-hmm.
the buildings we have here in our community. Not saying we're getting ready to do anything to any of these buildings, but, wanted to see what the parks thought, if they would like to work with Ashlyn.
Yes,
She could, and then she could even come to a park board meeting, start to talk to you guys as a board, as a group, and sort of see what are your thoughts, and then she can bring some designs. But when it comes to cost, her creating design takes some time. There is like a little deposit, and her pricing's right there. So she, typically between $25 to $35 a square foot. Obviously, type of wall, like what kind of canvas is she working with? And I believe, it is a 50% down payment. But anyhow, it's all in there. She lays it out really nicely.
Okay.
But if this is something you would like to pursue, at least more conversation, I heard a yes. I could even see if Ashton can attend the May meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll forward you guys this information so you have it.
Want to potentially work at the west side of the Hermance Park Pavilion? Or would we like to
If you
see?
look at that Hermance building,
Okay,
the very front, between the 2 windows,
can we go back?
has a bigger space than it does,
Open?
open to actually do a painting.
Maybe she could use the corner of the building.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
she could wrap
The
around.
corner was
Yeah.
where we wanted to do the planting.
And because she doesn't have to go all the way to the edges, you know, it could just
But
be like
maybe
there,
if
just
the
there.
planting,
Yeah,
the
and
painting,
wrap
your
around
hope
the
would be
corner.
something.
Add to it,
Mhm.
or, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
at least we'll talk about the pavilion and see if she can attend the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Because if she is gonna, if we're gonna plant there and paint there, we want to paint first and then plant. We don't want to do it vice versa. So
Okay.
that's something else to consider.
I still like the Verizon building wall next to the
Yeah.
parking lot.
So I'm not stopping here.
Yeah, we're gonna start here and then she's gonna paint every single
I will
flat
tell
surface in
you,
town.
this is just the start. I think I love the museum because wow, that's a beautiful campus
That's
right there.
nice.
Coming into town when you're heading east.
Let's get her to paint a pirate on the side of the,
The museum.
Well, that's, and Fruit Hills, we have to do something with Fruit Hills.
Yeah.
I mean,
Seas.
Mhm.
the,
yeah.
You know what, the alumni might even help with that kind of project.
Right.
If
Yeah.
we
That'd be a
could
good
get her to
idea.
paint some pirate aspect, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
That actually would be pretty neat.
You're welcome.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Her work
Okay, so
her
we
work
don't
looks
spend a lot
great.
of time.
She's got the information that we need on that email or in
So
that
we don't
email.
lose the pirates.
So,
Yeah, but if you're interested, let's have her at the May meeting.
You can type that down somewhere so you don't
We
forget.
still
No,
have
it's
kindergartners.
locked in here.
We have, Scott, we still have kindergartner pirates, you know.
I think that was
So we'll
last
have
that I was
pirates in
talking,
Bristol
but
long before.
real
I'll be
fast,
gone
if
by
you don't mind,
Yeah.
speaking of
Yeah, go ahead,
pirates,
Jill.
we need a good segue for me. So we are all aware that the Bristol Elementary is closing at the end of this school year. So they are having a community event on April 25th, which is a Saturday. Let me pull my case back up. Sorry, that was a while ago.
is this the
This-
miniature golf thing? there?
Yep, this is our
Yeah.
final round family and community event. So it's their putt-putt golf PTO, I think, fundraiser that they've had in the past. But they're welcoming the community to come in that day, 12 to 4, I believe is the time. To walk through the halls, some photo opportunities that Bristol Community Church along with the town. And I'm not sure, the hub might be some involvement with that. And we're going to do food for the community. So you're all invited to come through, but I just want to share that with you guys as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Linda, I didn't get it on the agenda because Linda and I spoke after I sent it out, but did you want to talk about the planting in Hermance Park?
Well, just that I
What's that?
put together, this is a picture of the, here, I'll give you something to write with.
Dude, I'll hold this up for you, like, man, right, and you can write on it. Is this the edge of the parking lot? Is that what we're seeing in
Okay.
that screen?
All right, so this, sorry, Austin.
I noticed it was good for the glare in the
All right,
camera.
so this right here is your parking lot. PAR, parking lot. And this right here is your
That's
pavilion.
the edge of the pavilion. Okay, all right.
So that will give you a little bit of an idea. This is a little evergreen tree right here. This is an evergreen tree that's right there. And then, what we want to be doing is this type of a thing. And we were thinking of it, whoops,
It was gonna be kind of like
upside down.
an array there.
Yeah. But we're wanting to fill in this area, and of course, this is going to be much bigger. I'll see if the library can blow that up
That's
for
where
me
the
a little
playground
bit.
equipment used to be.
So we're wanting to do this whole area in planting. Now, whether we'll do it in a couple stages. But I don't know, I haven't been down to the parking lot yet. And to see if it's started to pool up down there because of the flood. Have you seen?
Yeah, it's wet.
Is it,
Back right where you wanna put the boardwalk or the cement sidewalk,
That's-
Eric was saying it's almost underwater now, so.
Okay,
that's what I'm
But today
wondering.
was the crest
I'm gonna
day.
go take
Is
a
it?
look at that tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't-
The crest was this morning, so.
but that's
so
what-
Linda and I are
Hopefully
gonna go
start
look at
coming
it
back.
Oh, tomorrow.
But we're gonna get 2 more days of rain this week.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well, I'll be right back.
So we're gonna go check it out after we have some rain to see where the flooding is most active. And then what we plan on doing is having another meeting with anybody who's interested in sharing their voice on how we plant that area and what we plant in that area. Like
We
Scott,
need
I
to
can
dig up-
contact your wife again if she has an interest in that.
She does. I gave
I've
Linda
got
her.
The master gardeners,
Yeah.
that work with the garden, Mary Ann Martin, Deb Scott, I know they have an interest in getting together with us on that, so we decided we need to get this ball rolling again, so the next, like, before the end of next week, we're all gonna meet.
Eric, we will need
work
some
on
of
that.
your help.
Oh, he signed off,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Not you.
Mike, we will need
Yes.
some of the equipment. We need those,
The railroad
railroad
ties.
ties
Oh,
pulled
yeah,
out
all
of
those
there.
pretty
We'll
simple.
probably need some digging up at the area.
Probably need, yeah, some of the sod removed.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do.
So if we get, kind of get an outline on that for you guys, is that okay? to
Yeah,
give to
get
you
that
and
as
say
soon as
this
you
is the
can,
area
we'll-
where we want
As soon
things
as we
taken
get
out?
back in there without getting stuck and messing stuff up, we'll get it all out.
And I'm assuming, originally I was thinking we were just gonna be doing it within the playground area, which is mostly sand and rock. And so I was thinking that needed to be amended with some heavy organic material. And there again, I was gonna ask, Loveway if they could provide that. So if we could get some of that
compost and
dumped in
stuff,
there.
That would be great.
And then, if anybody, I mean, it's gonna be a big enough area, I don't typically till, but I think it would be helpful to till the compost and stuff into that area. But I don't know, Mike, you have more experience in agriculture than I do. Is that an area where we could get a larger tiller, or is that something we should try, would have to use a hand tiller?
And it's
When
dry,
it's dry, right, yeah,
otherwise you could hand do it.
Do you have a hand tiller?
so.
I have a
can
plow.
get a hand
I have a
tiller.
hand plow with big wheel on the front of it, my uncle's.
We have a hand tiller, but I don't have a way to get it uptown. Someone has to come get it
Oh, right, right.
in
Yeah.
our shed. I don't have a truck anymore.
So the thought is we're gonna do it
I have a
at least in 2 sections, a smaller section to begin with. Possibly spring, early summer, just depends on what the weather does. But if we can get in there and work it while it's dry this summer and prepare it for some fall planting. That's what we're
Yeah,
thinking for
I
moving
think
that.
probably,
advanced
I
planting.
think probably we won't be able to do a spring plant
Yeah, I
because
think that-
we need to do a lot of work there.
Right, so
to
probably
get
this
ready
fall
to
and
go.
then again next spring.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at with the Hermance planting. Do you have anything else to add to that for now?
Nope, I think that we'll just put a little committee together and we'll try to get together next week.
And are any of you interested in us, do you want us to let you know when that meeting is so you can come and attend, or do you just want us to report to you what we come up with at our next park board meeting?
Maybe both, if I'm able to, I can.
Okay, all right, well, we'll let you guys know when we're meeting.
Maybe we could use that room. And we can use that room up there, Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Upstairs to-
I was gonna ask if that'd be
We've got
okay.
a little more room.
Might be better.
Hermance,
Oh, yeah, if the weather's nice, we could meet right there.
I don't know.
But we'll wanna have your handy map though, we'll wanna have
Oh,
that for
well,
sure.
yeah,
Okay, anything else for Hermance? Any other thoughts on that planting or anything else in Hermance Park? Okay. Next thing is Memorial Park. Before I talk about the memorial proposal discussion, does anybody have anything for Memorial? Mike, are there any updates on when work is happening or how much that park's gonna be impacted? Since the last meeting, I mean.
Nothing has changed. I expect a major impact on the park, but when is a great question.
Basically, I just wanted to bring
and
this.
then our fellows are going to be mowing that little area, the area where the condoms gave us.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll take care of all that together with it
What's this we're talking about?
in Memorial Park.
There's a,
Since the tree is gone, right? And it's a stump drilled out.
Okay,
There's
You
another
have additional green
opportunity.
space that's
That's
not
a
being
good
developed.
opportunity for your spruce trees. For some
First,
fir trees,
Oh,
Is
I
that-
think
is that in the
it's an
area where-
Interesting idea too.
huh?
It's a great place maybe.
Yeah.
right downtown on that
Maybe
intersection.
so.
Now, are we talking about the same part of Memorial Park that you had suggested possibly having a little bandstand or a little stage last time?
Well, we were thinking about that the teak to teak maybe is either we could move it someplace else or move it across the street or. Or.
Yeah, I think if
just
there was
leave there,
a,
but have a place for bands, like
yeah.
you know.
Did
right
you happen
now
to
we're-
watch the last meeting?
That's where you've been my thing.
Mike, would you mind bringing up a map of Memorial Park and just showing him? Since Austin couldn't make it last month, I thought it'd be nice to give him that idea that you brought up to us, because I think that's just a fantastic idea. This is the area they're talking about right here. We acquired this part of that property now, so that's all part of Memorial Park. That tree's been removed. But Mike, do you want to give Austin an idea of what, or was that Jill's idea?
no,
It
Okay.
was Jill's.
All right. I remembered I falsely gave someone credit for that one, and I couldn't
No.
remember if it was Mike or Jill that I gave credit for.
Oh, no, it was just, the idea was building a small band stage shell that we could do for small downtown events, like Jill's hometown summer nights. We do.
Yeah,
them
have
on a
a
regular
comedian
basis.
up there, or have live music in our park.
Magician, come,
Um,
kid,
Yeah.
have
and
a show.
one of the ideas was seeing about doing like a, fundraiser ideas with, letting people put their name on a plaque on the bandstand to help fund the,
You know, we
the
might wanna
memorial
wait and see
proposal.
what happens with this space here. With a new facade on the Opera House, something new coming in on this space. To me, it's going to be interesting to see how that downtown develops
Yeah.
with these new investments. And how this might tie in with whatever the vibe is that's starting to happen here.
Who and when are they
What's
making?
gonna happen?
What?
What's gonna happen?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
That's the thing. I don't know.
Who
We
is
don't know
making
the
that
vibe.
decision, and when are they meeting to make that? Or,
On this,
yeah, on that space, like if that's something we as.
So
as
we're
residents
just
wanna
about-
Come in.
we're just about
Sit in
done
on.
clearing up the ownership of this. So we have actually this whole space here. And there'll be a request for proposals put out to the world saying, bring us your proposal.
But it's gonna be owned by the town?
It is all
Okay.
owned by the town, yes.
Okay.
So the town council will be making the decision based on the proposals. So there's been a lot of ideas. Mainly restaurant, rooftop dining with a view up the river.
That's gotta be a winner. I mean,
Is-
the day it opens its doors, it's gotta be a winner.
As long as we can get people downtown,
Rooftop.
as long as we can get people downtown. Is
We can get
the,
it on boat too, in the back.
is the bike bridge still being planned to come across here?
I think we still need a pedestrian bridge somewhere. Is it here or does it go from here to this parking lot?
Gotcha, okay.
So there's
Because
no
when we were
funding.
discussing murals earlier, that's one of the things I was wondering about, because I felt like there was gonna be a cement
block
wall in
against
that area that's gonna be up, raising foot traffic or bike traffic.
So
Because if we
just,
got a huge cement wall at the, looking that direction on that park, that'd be a nice place for a mural too.
you mean right here? Or-
I meant if it was gonna come along this way,
Oh, yes.
because
I
it's
see
gonna
what
have
you're
to
saying.
raise up, and so in
Yeah.
there, you'd have a
It
big
would be a
cement
good spot.
open space. But that's, I mean, how many years before that's a possibility? Are we talking 2-3 years?
Maybe more unless somebody gives 3 million to the town.
Okay. So at least 3 years before,
I think before we see any pedestrian bridge or anything, yeah.
okay. All right, thank you. So that's what one of the ideas he was suggesting for Memorial Park. And then again, like the work that's mainly gonna be done is gonna be here and then possibly this edge is still what we're thinking.
Yeah, it comes
Not
down
much-
this way and
Not
down
much of an
this way.
impact on like, kind of that.
The little
Not-
bit.
Not, shouldn't be anything
Okay.
in this area, but
Did you have any questions about that? I know we just threw out a whole bunch of ideas and a whole bunch of vague information, but.
For as central to town as it is, it does feel a little out of the way for, what were we thinking, like a little pavilion gazebo situation?
Yeah, just a small stage for a troubadour. Yeah, exactly, for some troubadours or the storytellers that we used to have come to our parks, or could even be like a staging area for people coming in to go into the homecoming or other big events that we have.
you know, if you really start looking outwards, if the hub moves the food pantry out of this building, what happens to this building? What's the church have in mind with it? It's gonna be
Is that being proposed? I hadn't heard anything about that.
Hub's been trying to move
Oh, that's right.
the food
Yeah,
pantry,
it's
so.
Okay.
Out of Bristol?
No, in
No,
Bristol,
And
trying
just
to
a
find.
building that would be more conducive to their needs. They have kind of they get kind of tight on storage. But all right, thank you for all that. I realize we're covering stuff that's outside of parks, but I mean, it affects it all. I mean, we're trying to plan that area. It's good for us to have an idea of what's going on around that. So if we want to know more about that, Mike, you're saying we can come to a town council meeting or watch the town council meetings on
Know about this?
online? Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be pretty well publicized when we're ready to let go on that. I'm hoping we can release that or request the RFP here early summer. So
so
that we've
that'll
got
be pretty public when that's,
oh,
RFP
yeah,
goes
that'll
out.
be very
Okay.
public, yeah.
okay.
Contrary to popular opinion, there are no backroom deals done in
Yeah.
Bristol.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. that was
Okay,
stupid.
so the next thing that I have is on the Memorial Park discussion, or Memorial proposal. And I think you guys are familiar with what it was I was proposing. I think, did we have an official vote to approve that, or did we just say, let's go ahead and investigate it? Okay, well, here's what I'd like to say.
I'm not approving it, but that's,
I think if we put one in there, we were thinking we would delay it because that park was gonna get torn up and we weren't sure where it would fit. We also aren't sure exactly what design it would be. But I would like to go ahead and move forward with this just because, if we are gonna make it happen, I think we can put something up in the park, and if it needs to move when the construction happens, we can move it. But I think that we should figure out the design for sure, can consider a place to put it. But I think we should go ahead and make a vote to move forward with putting a memorial in Memorial Park for Bristol residents that have passed in the last 6 years or so. I provided a cost estimate, that was gonna be no more than like $4,000 and likely less than that. And I think after we talked about doing some fundraising ideas and or possibly using some of that endowment fund, the concerns about the cost of that were assuaged. So, does anybody have any questions or comments about that proposal?
I'm not for it.
Okay,
I think for having, you know, you're talking about $4,000 for the plaque. And you're talking about maybe 10 people on it?
no, the 4,000 was for an estimate of 50. So if it was 10, it would
Well,
be maybe like, that would be less than a quarter of
well,
that, so it'd be 1,000.
you're saying you wanna do it from people that have passed in the last maybe 5 years, you're not gonna find 50 people. But I would think probably if you can get 10 people, that would be an awful lot.
Mhm.
But then, you know, that's 4,000, 10 people where you're saying you don't wanna spend $1,500 for 350 people on an app. So I'm saying I just don't think cost-wise that it's worth it.
Okay,
I
can I
think-
clarify the cost though? Because the numbers you just gave weren't
Okay,
entirely accurate. It's 50 was a number that I came up with just as an estimate. I used county mortality rates and, you know, there's like maximum number of people I think we would likely get is 50. And for 50, you need a plaque of such and such a size, 2 feet by 3 feet. If we end up with only 10 people interested, the plaque would maybe be 12 inches by 12 inches. So the cost wouldn't be 4,000, it would probably be 1,000. If we end up with far fewer than 50, it's gonna be a much smaller plaque. I was basically giving us kind of the maximum high end of what we could expect. And I think if there were 50 people that were interested in memorializing a lost loved one, I think a one-time cost of 4,000 isn't out of control. That's less than half of what we've got in those endowments we got. But I think that it would be good to have a vote on it and move forward, because if we are going to contact families and start reaching out, we need to figure out how many people there will be so that we can get that moving. And my initial thought was we'd wait until after the construction, but I don't think we necessarily need to do that because it's gonna be a small enough plaque that it can be moved. If we decide, if we put a plaque on the post, like the plaque that's already in there, if we decide we wanna mount it on a stone, mounted on the stage somewhere that they're proposing, you know, the plaque is movable. So that was, my thinking was that what was holding this up was the construction, but I don't think the construction necessarily needs to hold that up for us.
Well, and I think it has more value too, if the family wants to have a memorial for their loved one, that they participate in it, like they have done in years past, and they purchase, you know, purchase a park bench,
Mhm.
plant a tree or whatever. We can put the small little plaques like we have on some of them that are around town. I just think that spending $4,000 that way would be better than to just have a plaque with names. I
And I don't know if you recall, we did say at our last meeting that we would leave that option open. Like we proposed, like you could do bricks that people could purchase to help kind of cover the cost of the plaque. If people wanted to buy a bench or something like that, like we would leave the fundraising option open to that for people that did want something more than just a name on the plaque. But my purpose for doing this was that I know of a number of people who couldn't afford to contribute, but I think still as Bristol residents, it would mean a lot to them if we did something to try to memorialize their lost loved ones. I don't think memorials should only be for people who can afford it. And I think it's a really good way to spend that endowment money that's been given to us by people who have passed, but, you know, wanted to support our parks. Scott, do you have any thoughts on it, or Austin?
You and I talked before where I'm still not clear on what it is.
Right.
you
And that's,
know,
I
and
think we
that's-
should plan that park
and
as
that's
we
where
rebuild it. Yeah,
And that's where I'm held up with Linda a little bit too, where I can't visualize what it is we're trying to do. Like I can't, it's not that I'm not behind it. I just don't grasp what it is we're ultimately trying.
are you talking about the park as a whole? Or are you talking specifically about the plaque
Some of
that
that,
I'm
but the
proposing right
plaque as a
now?
whole, or whatever it is, plaque, rock, whatever. I just
Mhm.
can't, I don't, obviously I'm probably much more visual than I claim to be. But I don't understand what we're trying to, I feel dumb, but I don't understand what we're trying to accomplish. Um, like I don't have enough ideas in my brain to think what we're trying to do. And that's where I'm stuck. I don't,
Okay.
yeah,
So
I
would it be
can't.
helpful if I like gave you some imagery, did a drawing, or sent you pictures?
For me,
or-
it would, like, I
Okay.
just don't grasp what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
I feel bad in saying that, but I mean, I
Well,
think,
no, it's,
and I think Memorial Park should be a place where we memorialize folks. I'm not sure. Like, I just can't come up with a good idea to understand where we're going with this.
right,
You know,
okay. Well, I can provide you guys with some
maybe
pictures.
maybe we can combine like the stage area, blah, blah, blah thing. And put the plaque on that or something.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
But I think just to have, I like our historic plaques that we have down there.
Mhm.
But I just think sticking another sign in there with, with just memorializing people's names. I don't know. I just think, I think, I just. I don't get it. I can't get it.
Okay.
Right.
And I'm not,
And that's where I'm stuck too.
yeah,
It's not that I
And that's
don't
'cause
think
I-
it's a good idea, I just can't get, I don't know what the idea is,
right.
so I can't get behind what we're doing, like
Right.
I don't.
Because I hesitate to say like, okay, here's a specific idea, this is what it's gonna be, because I wanna have that discussion with you guys, with all of us, like, what does it look like? Is it gonna go on a post? Is it gonna go on a rock? But in order to figure this out, we need to start talking to families and find out how many people are interested. And I don't wanna do that if we don't have a vote that says we're actually gonna follow through on this. You know what I mean? If we start reaching out to people, which I've already done because, I was told that this has support.
Well, we did do the little the gazebo there, and we did the rock. The Methodist Church actually did that, the rock with Tommy Thompson on it, the teacher who was 101 years old. And that was his memorial. And why not do the stage and put this plaque for those people?
Right. No, I
I
think
mean,
that's a good
I
idea.
mean, I think that would accomplish a couple things together. I don't know. I just think that maybe that would be better. I would
Sorry.
get a little more into that.
Okay. Austin, were you starting to say something?
No, I like the idea of doing something like dedicating the stage to the memorialization of Bristolites, if you will,
Mhm.
and maybe installing the plaque if it were a plaque
Mhm.
there. But I'm open to keeping the plaque memorial discussion open.
Okay. Okay. And that's all I want to do, all I want to vote on is to say that, yes, we are going to do some sort of a memorial for people. Whether it's a plaque that ends up on the stage,
Mhm.
whether we decide it's a plaque that goes on a post.
Okay,
But in order to find out how many people are interested, we have to start asking people.
Mhm.
And if we start asking people and then decide, oh, well, we decide.
I
not
just feel
to do
dumb
it.
in saying that we're in support of memorialization, we just don't know what that is. And
Yeah.
that's where I feel foolish, like
Yeah.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, and the reason why I haven't given you anything specific is because I think that we do need to plan it together as a team. How do we want it to look? Maybe even we
Yeah.
open it up to the people whose family members have passed and ask them, like, what would you like to see? Do you want to see a plaque on a rock? Do you want to see, the stage being?
Yeah, or yeah.
But in order to
looking
ask,
at-
but in order to start asking those people that question, I think we need to have a motion and an approval that we are going to explore a memorial in that park. And my example of $4,000 with 50 names, that's like to give us what I think is a maximum idea of cost and a maximum number of names that we might get. I imagine it'll be far less, and I think that we can cover costs through other fundraising opportunities for it. I'm sorry, Linda, what were you getting ready to say?
Well, I could see that place as having a nice little stage and I don't know, benches maybe, or
Mhm.
something like that to be there and I would think that that would be for memorializing people
Yeah, and so we
to
could
have that particular area.
say to some families, if you want to have a
Memorial
bench,
Park,
you can
so-
buy a bench for $200. If you want a brick that's going down the middle, you can get a brick for 50, for example, and then that can help
Give 'em
fund the
different
plaque for
options.
people
Mhm.
who don't have the money
Mhm.
to cover that. So that's my thought with the rebuilding of that park. But I think we should get the ball rolling you know, before the construction is done. I think we should have a plan in place. And for me, I think the beginning of that plan is to make a motion that we will make a plaque for Bristol folks. Its shape and format to be determined, costing no more than $4,000. And with the idea that we would have some other options for really developing that as a memorial park. That's as we rebuild it, I'd like to see it be more cohesive as a memorial park. Because that's what it was designed to be. And I think
can
we should rebuild it
envision
that way.
it for
So,
not being too much bigger than this, because if we fill that up, I can envision we could do another one for the other side of
mhm,
this stage or whatever we're doing and put it over here if we
Right.
needed to do it. But I think we should start out, we're gonna probably start out, there's not gonna be as many people as you think, I think.
yeah, no, that number was really just like a maximum that I anticipated. Because I didn't want to give us an estimated cost and then have it come back higher than that. So.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that we do agree to go ahead with the idea of a memorial plaque of some kind. Size and shape has yet to be determined. But that we would fund the cost of that, depending on the number of interested parties we get. Do I have a second?
Second.
Austin seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Vote carried. All in favor? Thank you very much for that, guys. We'll definitely continue to plan this and discuss it and see what we want to, how we want that to look and how we want that to come together. But thank you, that vote gives me the confidence that I can, go and start talking to families and get a better idea of how many people we think might be interested in that. But also definitely keep the idea of if people want to purchase a bench or a sidewalk brick or any other ideas like that. Let's keep
So we
that
know,
as part of it.
yeah, what we're going to do with that.
Yeah.
The
And
construction.
Is that gonna be an application process? So there are gonna be requirements? Is there gonna be guidelines? Is it
Yeah.
gonna be whoever wants to be on that?
It'll be an application process. I've given some consideration to what that would look like and how that would be handled. And, if you want specifics now, I can give those
No,
to
I'm
you as
just
far
saying
as what I'm
because of things
thinking,
to
but
consider, because
yeah, we need to have some parameters around it, but I also think that like whatever parameters we place around it, we'd be flexible. We might say that it has to be somebody that lives within a certain mile reach of downtown, and
that's why.
if somebody lives a quarter mile past that, but they were a teacher for 30 years in our schools, or let's just say that somebody lives right outside of that, but their family still wants to include them, unless we have way more
An
names than we
example
already
would be
thought.
Chris Burke.
Yeah.
That would be my only thing. I
Um,
just wanna make sure we don't open it up to. And then I would say if those need like funding,
Mhm.
then you put that in the application and the board can decide if they wanna help with that.
Yeah.
Scholarship or whatever you call it.
So this is something we'll develop, but yeah, think too about like parameters we want to have as far as what types of restrictions, how far back we go, how close to town they need to be. But the people that I've spoken to about it are very interested in the idea. Some of them can afford assistance with it, others can't. But I think all those families are equally deserving to have their families memorialized, and I think this would be a good way for us to tell people in Bristol that we appreciate them and their good times and their bad. So, any other thoughts or questions on that? All right, thank you everybody for your time. It was a lengthy meeting tonight, but we got a lot accomplished, I think. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo at 6 p.m. in Town Hall. I'll try to have my agenda to you a little bit earlier next month. Sorry for that. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Mike, I will need a Zoom link for that meeting.
Or next month.
You're gonna be zooming next month, Scott?
Yes, I'll be at the fire station. That's about every other month for me this year.